Bai Zaken is too cunning, I said. I will wait for you. Closing her eyes with this sentence reverberating in the mind, Bai Yan was filled with turmoil. But I don't like you. No matter, you will sooner or later fall in love with me. The man's arrogance and self-conceited voice was more than enough to make her want to punch that face. She's seen a narcissist before, but never to this degree. How can he be so certain that I will fall in love with him? At the same time, not far away from the Tsang Manor, a certain little head had just popped out of an alleyway. This translation is only hosted on Translation. Little Master, do you really want to do this? Little Rice's heart was trembling incessantly. Can I keep out of this? No. Patting the tiger cub's head, did you forget how that baddie bullied mother? Now Little Rice really wanted to cry, but that baddie is your father. What's more, you even gave him permission to make more sisters with your mother. Likely able to guess what's on his friend's mind, Bai Xiachen quickly explains himself. That's just my excuse back there, otherwise how can I leave the mansion? And, pausing for a moment, you saw it too. I couldn't beat that baddie, nor can I allow him to keep harassing my mother. That's why I'm taking this risk. I thought you don't hate him as much, aggrieved in his face, Little Rice protests. His young master here was Di Tsang's son, so nothing will happen even if he does something wrong, but that immunity didn't apply to Little Rice himself. Tied in his response, Bai Xiachen was clearly swaying back and forth here. I don't hate him as much, that's true, but he is still bullying mother. I may want a sister, but if I had to choose between a sister or mother, I pick my mother. No matter what, anyone who bullies his mother are all baddies. But Little Rice wanted to say more but found himself unable to when Bai Xiachen suddenly covered his mouth. Don't say any more. We're starting now. In a sneaky manner, the boy slowly advanced towards the targeted estate. Unfortunately for him though, due to Bai Xiachen's constant focus on his surroundings, he seems to have forgotten to look in front. Before he knew it, he had bumped face first into a stranger. While the baby boy only stumbled backwards a few steps, the victim here was rather unfortunate and directly took to the ground after losing her balance. You, the maiden who fell, wanted to yell out at the one responsible, but when she saw it was Bai Xiachen himself, that young delicate face immediately erupted with anger. It's you. Blinking in confusion, the little steam bun replied, Auntie, do you know me? Who are you calling auntie? The young girl roared as soon as she regained her composure. I'm an unmarried princess in her prime. How dare you call me auntie? Princess? She's a princess of the kingdom? Hurry and scram. The sixth princess was clearly enraged by the kid's attitude. She had never expected to encounter Bai Yan's child here today. Originally she only intended to sneak a peek before leaving because Di Tsang's terrifying aura had completely seeped into her bones. Auntie, I don't know how to scram. Why don't you show me how to do it first? Pink in the cheek, Bai Xiachen's gaze was so innocent and true that none can find fault in them. Shut up. Seriously annoyed by the fact that the little thing would constantly call herself auntie left and right, the princess couldn't take it anymore. If you call me auntie again, then watch me rip out that mouth of yours. Take the fall, Little Rice. Stroking the tiger cub's head, Bai Xiachen was filled with innocence in his eyes as he spoke. Remember when mother told us not to talk with aunties in their menopause stage? She said their tempers are very erratic due to old age. I didn't believe it at first, but now I do. The princess didn't quite understand what menopause meant, but she did catch the old part very clearly. Did this little twerp just call me an old auntie? What are you all still waiting for? Sixth princess roared, hurry and catch this little bastard for me. Despite the command, the guards that came with her were all hesitant because it's no secret this little ancestor was Di Tsang's son. Where would they find the gals to touch him? This translation is only hosted on Translation. Princess, one of the men slowly inched forward and shyly spoke. Lord Song had openly recognized his status. If we nab him and the king learns of this, perhaps, how dare you? Snapping, the princess directly slaps the guard across the face and became all twisted in her expression. Don't forget who your master is. Fine, if none of you will move then I will do it myself. Let's see if this thing will keep being presumptuous in front of me. If it was in the past, the sixth princess would never dare go against Yitsong. But now, her heart has been filled with jealousy, thus causing her to lose all senses of reasoning. If anyone were to see those eyes in the girl, they might even mistake it as someone having their entire family killed. And here I was wondering how good Bai Yan's son was. Turns out it's nothing but a brat that doesn't know his manners. I really don't know why Lord Song would allow a wild child like you to be his son. Pinching his lips to the side unhappily, Bai Xiachen just knew it's his old man's fault. Auntie wants to marry my father? Giggling with a sinister light in his eyes. Then I'm not wrong to call you auntie then. It can't be that you want me to call you sister now, do you? You. Slightly taken aback here, the princess somehow couldn't understand why the laugh from the little guy was so evil. It's almost like a little devil. In her momentary trance, Bai Xiachen had already came in front of the girl. With one stretch and one push, the baby boy had managed to force the princess back several steps. Nearly tipping over, the girl was infuriated and wanted to catch the twerp. I'm going to kill you. But just as the princess was about to make contact, Bai Xiachen makes a strange maneuver and bypasses the girl's hand, leaving her stumbling over completely in front. With her hair a total mess, the girl was truly a crazed animal in her appearance now. Damn it. How can I, an Earth-rank martialist, lose to a brat that's barely weaned from her mother's milk? No. This won't do. I must teach this runt a lesson, or I can never hold up my face again. What is happening here? Who is making a ruckus outside? A fierce voice suddenly broke through the chaotic mess. As a pack of soldiers rushed out of the Tsang manor to investigate, the leading soldier immediately recognized the innocent boy and the raving princess. In that instant, the man almost couldn't comprehend the information. Young Lord, sixth princess, what are you all doing here? His master had already admitted Bai Xiachen's identity. Although the matter still hasn't been registered in the books yet, but it's pretty much set in stone. Take the fall, too, therefore, his addressment of, young lord, wasn't wrong here. All of you grab this little thing for me. Red in her eyes, the sixth princess was very confused over why she missed. She's certain she had used her full speed there. Princess, he is still a child. Struggling in their faces, the soldiers that just came out were all fully aware of the boy's status. What's more, Di Tsang had directly instructed them to put Bai Xiachen ahead of anyone, including royalty. If this situation continues and allowed the princess here to bully the little guy, the guards had no illusion their ending won't be any better than the bratty girl. I don't care. All of you must get even for me. Giving a direct kick at one of the soldiers, she continued, don't forget, my father only tasked you people to watch over Lord Song. In the end, my father the king is your true master. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation. The soldier in question was already looking very ugly in his face to begin with, then to have his chest kicked so hard, his expression promptly turned ghastly. Princess, you mustn't speak so carelessly. Since His Majesty had given us to Lord Song, it's only proper that we protect the young lord in the critical moment. Alright, fine, then I will keep doing it myself then. Gritting her teeth, the princess then jerked her whip out. In one swing, she lashes out at the baby boy across from her. Fortunately though, just as the whip's about to land, Bai Xiachen suddenly raises a hand to scratch his head and narrowly escape the trajectory due to the tilted angle of his body. The first time can still be a coincidence, then what about this time? A coincidence still? The soldiers from the Tsang manor were all scared silly by the princess's action. They can tell, if it had landed, the attack would have without a doubt left a scar on that cuddly face and forced the boy to become disfigured. If the Lord returns and finds out, we're finished. Sixth princess, we're sorry. Signaling his peers with a wink, the leading soldier led the way with the others quickly following suit in an encircling formation. Uncle soldier. Just as the soldiers were about to start subduing the bratty princess, a soft and delicate voice chimed in from behind. A tad surprised, the man in question quickly turns around. Finding it was his young lord with the white kitty, he respectfully bowed and asked, "Is there something you need, young master?" This big auntie must be still young in her age, that's why she's so ignorant. I don't want to make trouble, so you can let her go. By now a crowd of onlookers had already gathered outside the Tsang Manor, wondering what the big commotion was. Therefore, when they heard Bai Shechen's kind sentence, their eyes all turned into disgust and shot over to the princess. Young age? What young? This kid being bullied is but 5 years old. On the contrary, the 6th princess is already considered an adult. Yes, young master. The soldiers were honestly relieved to hear the order from the boy. They personally don't want to make a move against the princess either, but in order to keep Ditsang from hammering down his fury, they had no choice but to go ahead. With the young lord's order, even if they do release the girl, it's not their fault anymore. Just you wait and see. Swiftly reorganizing her messy hair, the 6th princess sent one last glare at the baby boy before charging right through the crowd. With the instigator of the event gone, so did the onlookers. While the soldiers from the Tsang Manor wanted to play escort with Bai Shechen, they were firmly rejected and driven away by him. Don't joke around. If these soldiers were to tag around, what else can he do? Little master, say it, what are you planning again? After all the people were gone and out of sight, Little Rice asked inattentively while grooming his fur. If the boy wasn't planning something against the princess, there's no way she would have made it out of here unscathed. That's the sort of personality the baby tiger came to expect of the boy. Little Rice, look, I got this from the bad auntie. Return the dowry, 3, is that right? Bai Yan throws a skeptic eye at Ditsang's lower half. If he never had a reaction before, then what changed? I didn't even do anything. Noticing the wicked gaze from the devilish woman, Ditsang's smile only got rosier. Now that you know so much, it's imperative that I don't let you go. In response, Bai Yan's face went dark, but it's you who told me everything. I don't care. I just know you are in on my secrets, so you have to stay by my side. Then I'm regretting asking you these questions. It's too late for that. Grinning, as if you can dump me so easily, you unlucky woman. Fine, if you really want to marry me, then you have to promise that you can't go from my bed until we are bonded. Otherwise, I will rather die than to accept you in the future. Contemplating the idea for a moment, Ditsang finally replied, very well, I promise you. He's already waited 6 years, another while won't make a difference here. But when the time does come though, Ditsang swears by his name that he will make her unable to leave the bed for 3 days straight. I'll go get someone to prepare the room for you, Bai Yan grits her teeth. Once your place is repaired, you are moving back. I'm all right with that. Without hesitation, the man answers on the spot. Repaired? Ho ho, that's only if it ever gets fixed. Slowly relaxing, Bai Yan had in fact lied here. When given enough time, she will use the opportunity to run with her son. It's not early anymore, so I'm going to rest. You serve yourself. After stating this, she swiftly rushed away, afraid the man would suddenly pounce at her again. Watching that departing back, Ditsang's smile somehow manages to become even more enchanting. It seems it's time for me to get married. Compared to the tranquility on this side, the Bai house on the other hand was in utter chaos. First was Ditsang announcing to the world that they must return the dowry in order to save Bai Ji. Then came the news that their youngest daughter was currently taking customers at the flower brothel. Despite their swift response to go investigate in person, none of the Bai family members could get inside the establishment. To add insult to the injury, the flower brothel wouldn't even recognize they had seized the girl. With no evidence and no way to confirm if the news was true, their only recourse was to check the prison. However, their efforts also hit a brick wall on this front. The only answer they got from the prison guards were a, "You are mistaken, your daughter is still inside the cell." In the end, Yu Rong and Bai Xiang can only cave in and submit to Ditsang's demand. The wife ran to the palace to retrieve the accessories she's given away over the years, while the husband pressured his subordinate powers a second time to gather the funds. For a time, the entire nation was ran over with grief and anger. Some had even turned around to seek refuge under the lawn house. No matter how powerful a force was, if they lose the support of those below, it's an eventuality that another similar power would overtake the first. Bai Xiang knew at least this much, but he can't be too picky at this point. By the time the dowries were cobbled together, another month had passed. I will go match the dowries here with the list at the office. If even one thing is missing, I will have you puke it back out. Bai Yan coldly stares down at the red-eyed man that's supposed to be her father. Bai Yan, are you really going to go this far to completely disregard our father and daughter bond? The man's eye was full of anger. Tell me honestly, was it you who had Ditsang persecute us? Lowering her teacup, Bai Yan only scoffed a laugh. Whether it's me or not, the fact remains that these belong to me. And, this is just the first step. Don't forget, everything that you have today is the result of my mother being overly infatuated with you. Or do you think those damn pills are without consequences? The man sneered. I've already returned what needs to be returned, and the pills are already consumed by me. Do you expect me to spit them back out? I won't have you spit them back out. Bai Yan paused, letting her dreadful smile take hold. But, I can have your strength revert back to the stage where you never ate the pills. Threat 1. Bai Xianxia shuddered at the statement because he's got the strange feeling that this girl would surely carry out her threat today. Bai Yan, I'm your father. Tightly clenching those fists, his eyes burned with rage. Must you push us over the edge? If you don't want to let your strength revert back to before, then return the pills in which my mother gave you. From the day she returned to this place, Bai Yan had already made the decision to take back everything that once belonged to her mother. No more, no less. Bai Xiangxia's eyes were full of mockery. I originally didn't want to go too far based on our relationship, but now that you are willing to ignore the bond between us, then don't blame me. Pricking her brow, huh? Can it be, this man still has something in his hands that can threaten me? I know what you've been doing recently. Bai Xiangxia's expression turned cold. The reason why you can be so arrogant is because of the flower brothel's backing. Otherwise, where would you find the courage to make so much clamor in front of me? This translation is only hosted on Translation. Laughing hard in her stomach, Bai Yan had trouble keeping herself from breaking into tears. Oh, isn't that ironic? There's some people here who can't even get in touch with the flower brothel when they try. Leaning leisurely on the chair, a gorgeous smile arose from her face. Prior to this, Bai Xiangxia had tried several times to make a visit to this old manor after learning it belongs to the flower brothel. Unfortunately for him, the guards would drive him away at every turn, let alone let him step inside. If not for this case, Bai Yan would never allow such an evil-hearted man to come here. Bai Xiangxia's face sank. Bai Yan, you finally admits it, eh? Admit what? Asked Bai Yan, her eyes confused. Admit that you are the leading prostitute of the flower brothel. Sad in his face, Bai Xiangxia looked exactly like a father that's disappointed over his daughter's lost way. Bai Yan was dumbfounded here. Leading prostitute? And it's me who admitted it? How come I didn't know about this? Without paying heed to the strange frowning expression on his daughter's face, Bai Xiangxia continues on with his ignorant ramble. I know back then it was you wrong who wronged you, but you are not a good person either. Otherwise, how can you become the leading prostitute inside the flower brothel in merely 5 years? If Lord Song were to learn of this matter, what would he think of you? Would he still marry you? Not getting angry, Bai Yan instead broke out into a fitting laugh. And who is it that told you this? You don't need to know who told me this, you just need to know I now control your deepest secret. His eyes gloomy as he states this. I originally wanted to keep this secret hidden away because of our bond, but now that you won't let the Bai house go, it's only fair I turn this around. Likewise, I won't let you or the Lawn house go. Watching the beaming confidence in the man's eye, Bai Yan's interest was honestly piqued here. So what is it that you want? She's not going to waste words here. Even if she denies the accusation, it's a certainty this dumb man will keep pushing the idea. If that's the case, she might as well pry out whatever plans he has in mind. I have already brought back Lan Yue's dowry, but I will also take them back with me in a bit. When the time come, you can just tell Lord Song that you've received them. From the very beginning, he had never intended to return these dowries. The reasoning for why he had gathered everything was mainly because of Ditsang's men watching his every move. But whether or not Bai Yan really accepted these dowries were another matter. That's something out of Lord Song's control. Sneering, Bai Yan's gaze was full of ridicule. and why should I do as you wish? Because I know you are the leading prostitute of the flower brothel, that's why. Pompous in his posture, he confidently raises his chin. In addition, I also want you to tell Lord Song that the one from 6 years ago is your sister Ji and not you. Stealing the Dan pill? 3. Someone that doesn't put the interest of the Bai family ahead of everyone else doesn't deserve to be my son. Those from the Lan family aren't good people either. When Di Tsang came to force us to return the dowry, none of them even came forward to say a single word. If even one of them said something, would Di Tsang still insist on the matter? Gritting his teeth, Bai Zhengxiang's gaze turned exceptionally sharp. Raising a slight smirk, this was exactly what Yu Rong wanted to see. So long as her husband remains on her side, there's nothing to fear anymore from Bai Yan's end. This includes what happened in the past, it no longer matters anymore. Wife, you go rest first while I go pick up our daughter from the prison. Be sure to watch your body during this critical time. At the mention, the man's heart instantly started to hurt. Ji's been inside the prison for so long, I bet she must have suffered a lot. I just hope her face isn't harmed in any way, otherwise that's a big loss. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation, first giving a couple of instructions to the servant girls to care for his wife. Bai Zhengxiang then hurriedly ran off to the prison. Unfortunately for him, due to the lack of people to receive him, he can only wait outside the main door for someone to come out. This lasted from last night's evening to the very next morning. Lord Bai, why are you waiting here? The prison guard exclaimed as soon as he saw the panda-eyed man standing there. Twitching in the corner of his mouth, Bai Zhengxiang had to try extremely hard to suppress his anger at the question. Lord Song said as soon as I return the dowries, he will release my daughter Bai Ji. I've done as he asked, so I'm here to pick up my daughter. Now the prison guard was even more astonished in his eyes. But Lord Bai Ji had already been released a while ago, did you not know? What? Why did I not know, and why did no one from home come inform me? It can't be. I wasted the entire night waiting? Not looking good at all in his complexion, Bai Zhengxiang didn't utter another word. Instead, he promptly turned for the direction in which he came. And of course, there's no way he would be able to know that Bai Ji had in fact just been released from the flower brothel after being forced to take on the last customer. By the time he returned to his home, he just so happens to bump into the dispirited Bai Ji making her own way home from the opposite direction. Father. At the sight of her old man, Bai Ji's pent-up humiliation all came pouring out in one flow. Unable to keep her body upright, she loses her footing and fell forward to the ground with tears seeping out of her eyes. Ji! Screaming out this name in horror, Bai Zhengxiang rushes up to catch his daughter. What happened to you? How did you become like this? Bruised all over with her clothes in tatters, Bai Ji appeared absolutely horrible due to how pale her complexion looked. My daughter, I heard people say you've been abducted into the flower brothel. Tell me, is it Bai Yan who's behind it? Shuddering at the question, Bai Ji bites her lip before meekly responding, Father, I was inside the prison the entire time, not at the flower brothel. How can she possibly let anyone know about her horrific experience? Even if it's her own father, there's no way she can let anyone know. Otherwise, this man will surely abandon her too after learning she's of no value. Just recalling that nightmarish experience again, Bai Ji instantly became overwhelmed with weakness and closed her eyes in hope of forgetting it. Compared to the flower brothel, she would have preferred the punishment from the prison. Though the torturing sessions were painful, at the very least she would have remained intact. At the flower brothel, she could barely rest because of all the sickening men she had to serve. Then at night, that's when the true nightmares began. There were no ends to the things she was forced to do and take from the special parties organized just for her. In short, she's done things she never thought possible with her body. Whether it be inside or outside, something has definitely been broken. It's great that you weren't at the flower brothel. Bai Zhengxiang was definitely relieved to hear this. Only people like Bai Yan would sell herself to such an establishment. Such a place, it's better to die than to fall that low. Stealing the Dan pill? For, although Bai Zhengxiang wanted to send Bai Ji to Di Tsang's side, but never once did he intend to have his daughter service another man to achieve this goal. In his view, whether it be pre-marriage or after marriage, any women who loses their virginity or go out to cheat can only die for repentance. Father, did you say Bai Yan and the flower brothel are related? Holding her breath, Bai Ji forces herself to blurt this question out using that remaining strength in her vocals. A frosty chill flashed across the man's iris. Bai Yan is the leading prostitute of the flower brothel. This is already a well-known fact. That girl really is Lan Yue's daughter. If not for her mother's good personality and wealth, I never would have married that woman back then. Lan Yue was known as the kingdom's #1 beauty. Both virtuous and kind, any normal men would have prized such a wife. But in Bai Xiang's heart, there's a blemish that can never be removed. This translation is only hosted on Translation. Prior to their meeting, the dowager had always wanted Lan Yue to marry into the palace that even the king himself had once intended to make the woman his queen. Though Lan Yue in the end rejected the proposal, this man here still held the matter to heart and never once forgave the supposed betrayal. Due to Bai Xiang's own anger, no one was able to notice the hatred spewing out of the girl's eye in this moment. Bai Yan. It is Bai Yan. It must be her, the reason why I was taken to the flower brothel and forced to go through that nightmarish hell. I will never let you go, Bai Yan. Daughter, you first rest and look after your wounds. Looking at all the injuries and bruises on her daughter's body, Bai Xiang's brow inexplicably curled into a knot. We must remove these scars, otherwise, this will be a great shortcoming when you marry into the Tsang manor. Tsang manor? Stunned by her father's word, she depressingly lowered her head. Father, how can I enter the Tsang manor when Lord Tsang treats me like this? You don't need to worry about this matter, I have a way. All you need to do now is to look after yourself and wait for Lord Tsang to marry you. Raising a smile of confidence, he firmly reassures his daughter. Sure enough, a flicker of hope once again ignited in the girl's eye as a result of this. In her mind, so long as she can marry that man, she's willing to do anything. Undoubtedly, whatever plan Bai Xiang had in mind was perfect. Pity though, before he could enact his scheme, another problem arose out of nowhere which causes him to regret for the rest of his life. On this day, Yu Rong's elder brother, Yu Fei, and his family had just arrived at the city when they came across an incident on the street. A youth had just lost consciousness and the one tending to the patient was none other than Bai Xiao. This should have been nothing too eye-catching, but Bai Xiao just had to bring out a Dan pill to help the youth after normal means didn't work. When Yu Fei saw that round beady object in the boy's hand, his eyes nearly popped out as a result of the shock. Without thinking twice, he slashed out with his sword at the boy's hand. If it were normally, this slash wouldn't be able to harm Bai Xiao. Unfortunately in this case, due to the boy's focus being entirely on the unconscious youth, he was unable to notice the attack until it was too late. As for those tasked with protecting the young lord, these hidden guardians were literally scared out of their wits. Due to the abrupt nature, plus how close the proximity it was, the best these people could do was resolve some of the power in that slash and deflect the trajectory so slightly. In the end, blood came spewing out of Bai Xiao's hand due to the bone-piercing cut. Sir Xiao. While one of the hidden shadows swiftly lands to tend to the boy, the other shadow made a dash for Bai Yan's place to report this. Stealing the Dan pill? 5, I'm okay, wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth. Give him the Dan pill first, he's an acquaintance of mine. Yes, Sir Xiao. Following the affirmation, the man swiftly ran over to the unconscious youth's side. At the sight of his actions, Yu Fei's eye had gone red with fury. Stop. That is our Bai house's stuff, meaning it's my sister's belonging. Who gave you permission to use it on an outsider? How can Bai Xiao have a Dan pill? It must be stolen property. And even if he did obtain it with his own ability, he's a son of the Bai family, making his possession my sister's. Such good medicine, based on what can he give it to an outsider? If he's going to give it to an outsider, he might as well give it to me. Of course, this last sentence was the real reason why he wanted the pill. Father, that's a Dan pill, I want it. This translation is only hosted on Translation. The juvenile beside Yu Fei tugs at his father's sleeve, all the while staring intently at the beady object in the guard's hand. Father, Bai Xiao, this bastard must have stolen a lot of Dan pills from the Bai house. I want them, I want them. A young girl also came out from behind and started shouting this demand, "Father, on what qualification does he deserves those pills? It should be us, not this bastard." Hearing the words from this pair of brother and sister, Yu Fei's face also softened. All right, I will get them for you too in a bit, don't worry." Apparently this man and his children had no qualms about taking other people's stuff. Even so, the guards simply ignored him and stuffed the pill into the youth's mouth. "How dare you?" Yu Fei grew furious. "You are but a dog of our house. How dare you take what is ours and give it to an outsider? Just wait, once I let my brother-in-law knows about this, I will have him beat you to death." Since the man was willing to take orders from Bai Xiao, he assumed it safe to believe this guard was also working for the Bai house. Hearing Yu Fei's words, the man's face immediately turned cold. No matter what, he's still a sky-class martialist, a being that would be looked on in awe no matter where he went. To think he would be called a dog here. Even if the chief of the Bai house were to stand in front of me, he would not dare be so presumptuous in my presence. The man known as the left guardian to his peers makes an ironic sneer, holding the other side in contempt with those eyes. Hearing this, Yu Fei instantly broke out into a laughing fit. "You're but a little guard, how dare you put on a face in front of me? Against an insect like you, all I need to do is flex a finger and I can easily squash you." Left guardian's expression was full of ridicule. Why is it that anyone remotely related to Bai Xiang are always like this, like to seek their own death? "Sorry, but I haven't fallen so low that I need to move my own hands to deal with you." Bang! As soon as these words came out, Yu Fei's body instantly flew out into the crowd like he's been pummeled in the chest with a giant fist. Who attacked me?" Crawling up with rage in his eyes, Yu Fei's expression was very ugly right now. As for the man standing in front of Bai Xiao, he didn't even have him in his eyes. In this foolish man's view, if anyone had such great strength, they would already have left the Bai house and went to work under the royal family or some other similar power. "Brother." It was at this moment a hurried voice broke through the air from the back. When the crowd turned around to look for the source, what came into view was Bai Xiang and Yu Rong rushing over with their people. "The strong robs the weak." Yu Rong's face froze, her eyes widening in shock. "What? It's not some spirit pill, but some medicinal healing pill? This bastard set me up." In the blink of an eye, Bai Xiang also understood what's going on. He turned around to face the boy, his eyes filled with anger. "Oh Bai Xiao, when did you become so deceitful like your sister? I don't care whether the pill in your hand is a spirit pill or a healing pill. As long as you are my son, then you must hand over your possessions to me for safekeeping." Looking at Bai Xiang's righteous appearance, Bai Xiao tightens his lip at the sight. All of a sudden, an indescribable fatigue overtook his body. For so many years, he's been patient because he didn't want to lose everything that his mother so painstakingly worked for to be destroyed. This way, he will have the necessary power to back his sister in the future. That was his plan. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation, but now, he understands that with the shamelessness of these people, the Bai house will be destroyed before it reaches his hand. "I, Bai Xiao, am fatherless and motherless. In this world, I only have one sister and a nephew. Based on what can unrelated people like you ask me of my possession? Damn you!" Bai Xiang roars out, scolding his son in full force. "Is it Bai Yan, that unfilial girl, who instilled these thoughts into your head? You used to be so good, but now that your sister is back, you suddenly became so disobedient. Husband, don't be angry, let me have a talk with him first." Seeing how more and more people were gathering with no end in sight, Yu Rong knew things cannot continue like this. Hurrying over to her husband's side, she attempts to soothe that puffing chest with her stroke. "Bai Xiao, you are a son of the Bai house. That makes you forever part of the family. In order to not let others deceive you, we have the obligation to look after your possessions. If there's so much Dan pill on Bai Xiao's body, how can they let him go? If they are not careful here, it might just fall into that bitch Bai Yan's hand. That's pretty much what's going through the woman's head anyways. There is nothing wrong with Madame Bai's request. As his parent, they are in their right to look after his finances and possession. Even if they did wrong him, that doesn't change the fact. Bai Xiao isn't his sister. Bai Yan may have been driven out of the family by her father, but the boy's name is still hanging in the clan hall. He cannot swallow these valuables. Like thorns, the discussion from the crowd directly pierced into his heart, hurting him to the point where his expression had transformed into the winter storm. Right now, never had he wished so hard that he's not a part of the Bai family. If that was the case, none of these problems would occur. You people want the Dan pills? Suddenly out of nowhere, Bai Xiao started laughing hysterically. Towards this strange behavior, Yu Rong somehow felt a chill running down her spine that she can't explain. Even if destroy them, I will never give them to such beasts like you people. What did you say? Yu Rong widened her eyes. Based on what can you destroy my Bai family stuff? Based on what? Based on the fact that these are all given to me by my sister. She's no longer part of the Bai family, making these pills unrelated to any of you. Boom. I can't do anything if you keep saying I'm a son of the Bai house, then what about my sister? She was openly expelled by you people, now you got nothing to say, right? Bai Yan? Yu Rong snickered at the statement. She's nothing but a leading prostitute at the flower brothel. How can she possibly get her hands on such valuables? Are you taking me for a fool? Though the name included the word leading, but in the end, such an entity was nothing more than woman that's ridden by any men who can pay the price. An existence of the lowest level. The Heavens Chapter 183 will not tolerate, today, I, Bai Yan, will put my word out. The Yu family is dead, and whoever dares to get in my way will perish along with them. Bai Yan, Yu Rong was trembling, which causes her blood to seep even faster and draining all her strength along with it. Like his wife, Bai Xianxia was also staring intently at her. If one didn't know better, they might mistake this man as someone who's seeing an enemy who's killed his whole family. What are you staring at? Left Guardian was so angry at the man's attitude that he didn't think twice about slapping him across the face. Despite the humiliation, Bai Xianxia continues to stay silent with his face twisting into an ugly scowl that's no different from someone suffering from constipation. Even if he didn't have a brain, he did have enough insight to see that the foe was also at the sky rank in terms of cultivation. What's more, it's at the peak level, one tier higher than himself who's at the mid-level. This translation is only hosted on Translation, husband. Are you okay? A flash of panic exploded out of Yu Rong's eye as she glared daggers at Bai Yan. How can you let your patron treat your father like this? Turning even colder in her expression, Bai Yan didn't even look at the idiotic woman. Gao Yi, slap her for me. After this order, Gao Yi quickly appeared before Yu Rong to carry out the task. Since he was aching to do something of similar order to begin with, he didn't hold back at all. A brief while later, Yu Rong's mouth had swollen into a bruised lump of purplish red. Looking even worse than before, Bai Xianxia forcefully climbs back up and turns to his daughter. Bai Yan, no matter what, I'm still your father. Why must you be so cruel and refuse to listen? I only want you to repent and come back to the right path. Ladies and gentlemen, not giving Bai Yan a chance to speak, he continues, all of you come and see this. Look at how this good daughter of mine treat me. It's bad enough she's fallen in to become a leading prostitute at the flower brothel. She's now having one of her patrons humiliate her own family. Such a daughter deserves nothing but a miserable end. Not flinching in the least at the insult, Bai Yan only raised a smirk while letting the shameless man continue on with his rant. Sure enough, as more and more crowds gathered at the scene to listen in on his words, gasps and shock were hovering in the air. Oh heavens, did they hear it wrong? Bai Yan is the flower brothel's prostitute? The type that does on a regular basis for money? Just as everyone was astonished over the shocking news, an angry voice abruptly broke through the commotion. Bai Yan, I never thought you would be such a person. The voice was very familiar, so familiar that it caused her to raise a brow. Sweeping over to the source, Bai Yan can see it's the livid-looking Nangong Yi, Crown Prince. How surprising, to think you would recover so quickly after 200 rods. Going green in his face, Nangong Yi still haven't forgotten the pain from that ordeal. If not for his father's generosity of giving him a 4th-grade medicinal pill from the treasury, he would still be in bed moaning in pain. Unfortunately for this family, there were only 2 pills available. One was naturally for him, the other for his son. As for Bai Ruo, that woman can only remain in the bed due to her injuries. Humph, if I didn't recover so quickly, I wouldn't have known the kind of disgusting deeds you've done. Crunching his fists into a tight ball, Nan Gongyi's expression was very unsightly right now due to the anger burning in his eyes. If someone didn't know better here, they might mistake Bai Yan as having an affair behind the man's back. Ignoring the unrelated person, Bai Yan shifts her gaze back to her supposed father. I don't know who told you this lie that I'm a prostitute at the flower brothel, but I don't care either way. Maybe even in death you won't change that habit of yours in believing just any random lie. However, she smirked, raising an eerie chill in the air. You should never have harmed my brother. In this world, I will not tolerate anyone from hurting him. To heal you under the peach blossom tree located in the back garden, Bai Yan was currently sitting inside the pavilion holding a book in her hands. With her long legs curled up on the bench, the image of her serene figure was like a touch of life on this picturesque image. Just as she's enjoying her moment of peace and quiet, a rushed guard from the outside interrupts her reading by charging into the garden. Mistress, someone is seeking an audience with you. Closing the book, she calmly looks up to face the soldier. Who? He calls himself Bai Zhanpeng. Bai Zhanpeng? Due to unfamiliarity of the name, Bai Yan inexplicably curled her brow into a knot. Go let him in first. Yes, mistress. Receiving the order, the guard retreats to only return a short while later with the 2 extra figure in tow. It's you? Recognizing the younger male, she cries this out like a reflex reaction. This translation is only hosted on Translation. Miss Bai Yan, I hope you wouldn't mind me being so abrupt in my visit today. Raising a faint smile, Bai Zhanpeng attempts to help liven up his appearance. Sadly, due to that frail body and sickly complexion, there's no denying he's unwell. Slowly getting up, Bai Yan didn't hesitate to ask, I know it's my fault the other day in bumping into you, but how did you find out about my place of residence? You've misunderstood me, miss. I did not come here to ask for an apology. Breaking out into a cough again, Bai Zhanpeng stubbornly forces a laugh to mask that outburst. I came today because I have a very good impression of you, that's why I'm visiting. If such words were to come out of any other random person's mouth, Bai Yan would no doubt mistake it for a flirting playboy trying to hit on herself. However, oddly enough, she didn't get such a feeling like it's a very good thing. Your body, after the brief interaction, she can tell the man before her was very sick and wouldn't have many years to live. This body of mine is already beyond help, and my trip away from home is also because I'm near my end. I want to find my long-lost sister so I can bring her home. When I saw you the other day, I felt like I was seeing my sister at my side again. Trembling in her heart, your younger sister, how old was she when she disappeared? By this year she should be closing in on 40 years old. I don't know how she disappeared, but 20 years ago she just never returned after an outing. Nearly 40? Then that means she didn't disappear while still in the cradle. Bai Yan was honestly a little disappointed here because she did have a tinge of hope there for a second. Your physical problem is very serious. If you don't mind the inconvenience, can I have a look? Loosening her tense brow, she bluntly asks. Young master, the elder standing beside the sickly man was very anxious after hearing the request. Just as he wanted to stop this, Bai Zhanpeng instead stopped him with a shake of the head. There is nothing to be inconvenient about. Miss, are you an alchemist? That's right. Without hiding her background, Bai Yan slowly stepped in front of Bai Zhanpeng and infused her spirit into the man's body for the examination. Shuddering at first over the intrusion, the sickly patient quickly relaxed himself after getting overwhelmed with a soothing sensation like someone bathing in the open sunlight. As nice as it was for Bai Zhanpeng, his follower on the other hand didn't look so well. Practically sweating down to his underwear, the elder was praying to the heavens that things would turn out well. The reasoning, if Bai Yan tried anything in this state, no one can stop her. Fortunately for this loyal servant, Bai Yan's spiritual intrusion only lasted for a short while before she pulled out. With a dignified face of a healer facing a patient, she asked, "Did you get seriously injured 10 years ago?" If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off ad block helps too. To heal you, Bai Zhanpeng nodded. Yes, I was actually injured by my enemies 10 years ago. Then there's no mistaking it then. Though 10 years ago an alchemist managed to save your life with a Dan pill, but because he couldn't complete the job, your enemy's residual energy had continued to wreak havoc inside your body over the years. Bai Zhanpeng was stunned by the girl's ability to know this much. Making a wry smile, everything that you said is known to me, but I too know that if I forcefully remove the wisp of energy, it will cause severe damage to my meridian. If living means I will become a cripple, I would rather die than to lose my dignity. Who told you such a silly thing? Raising a smirk, Bai Yan shifts her sight onto the napping white tiger cub currently basking in the sunlight not far away on the ground. Little Rice, I have a mission for you. Without delay, Little Rice swooped into Bai Yan's arm and looked on with disgust at the sickly man. This human isn't even a great beauty. To think mistress would want me to suck out that wisp of energy from him, no way. 2 plates of Dongpa pork. Bai Yan grits her teeth to say this. Note, Dongpa pork is a Hangzhou dish which is made by pan-frying and then braising it until it practically melts to the touch. Making a childish snort, the baby tiger knocks his head up in refusal. I won't sell my dignity for merely 2 plates of Dongpa pork. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation. Add in another roast suckling pig. Bai Yan continues. Flashing a spark in his tiger eyes, Little Rice was starting to sway from the temptation. I will personally cook your food for 1 month. Bai Yan decides to go all in. Sure enough, Little Rice was sparkling with stars in his eyes now. Without delay, he pats his cute little paw with Bai Yan's hand to seal the deal. All right. What H-I-T-T-Y dignity, in front of great food, it's all bulls. H-I-T. Plus I don't have to abuse my poor tummy now, not so bad at all. Getting what she want, Bai Yan turns around to face the sickly man. Go with him. He will suck out the wisp of energy from your body. This left Bai Zhanpeng and the old elder very surprised there. There are countless alchemists inside the medicine sect who couldn't do a thing against the wisp of energy, but now the girl can solve it with only a few words and a promise. Miss Bai Yan, Bai Zhanpeng's mouth carried with it a tinge of bitterness. This condition had been plaguing me for over 10 years. Even if you can remove the wisp of energy from me, my body will still fail after being destroyed so thoroughly. At best I will only have a few years to live. P.R.I.C. King her brow, Bai Yan thought nothing of the man's worry. Since I said I have a way, then there won't be an issue. If you trust me, then go with him. Young master. The old elder was anxious now. He knows, if the young master were to be given a choice now, he will surely pick to believe this unknown young master. It's better to be safe than sorry. Bai Zhanpeng sends a questionable glance at the elder. I don't have much left to live anyways. What harm can there be in believing her? At that, the sickly man turns back around to face the baby tiger. Lead on. Meow. Calling out as a cat, Little Rice still had the look of contempt in his eyes. But before the tiger cub could leave, Bai Yan quietly gave him a wink to signal something. In response, Little Rice blinked his eyes to show he understood. Young master. In his urgency, the old elder wanted to follow from behind to only be blocked by the peerless figure. If you want to save him, then don't go. You, the old elder's eye was full of anger. If the young master is harmed in any way, we will never let you go. Not minding the rudeness shooting her way, Bai Yan helped herself back to the pavilion while they waited. Did my son return yet? She asks the guard nearby. Not yet, mistress. The young lord is out playing with his friends. I believe he won't be back until nightfall. If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off adblock helps too. With a stepmother comes a stepfather. Impossible, it must be a mistake. How could Bai Yan be the master of the flower brothel? Covered with jealousy in that glare, Yu Rong only had the girl in her eyes right now. How could she believe that? A girl that can easily be trampled by her 6 years ago would suddenly transform into a high and mighty existence, the master of the flower brothel. Even if the flower brothel were to submit to someone, it should have been my daughter Bai Ji and Bai Rua. Why this bitch? That Hualuo has the worst sight in this world. Likely able to sense the fluctuation in the air, Hualuo shoots an ironic grin at Yu Rong. So you are my mistress's stepmother? It's as the old saying goes, if there's a stepmother then there's a stepfather. Though the charming woman's gaze was still on the bleeding figure on the ground, her words were meant for Bai Zhengxiang instead to the other side. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation. If this was someone else saying this to him, the man in question would have at least refuted the claim. However, it was Hualuo, a being far superior to himself in standing. Heck, if there's a hole right now, Bai Zhengxiang would have squirmed into it out of embarrassment. Mother. Just as Bai Yan was slowly encroaching in on that pair of shameless existence, a sharp childish voice suddenly broke through the sky and caught her attention. Halting in her steps, she and the rest of the crowd all looked up to what's coming from above. It was a throne, a crimson-red throne pulled by 4 silvery wolves. With an enchanting yet arrogant smile, the man's silvery hair literally gave this man an almost surreal image, like he's an otherworldly existence gazing down at the mortals. But that's not all though. Sitting next to this man was another person, a doll-like child that raised no questions about his lineage. One small and one big, together they formed the stunning duo that can't be denied. Swoosh! The first to disembark from the ride was the white cat in the child's arm. Dashing over to Bai Yan's side, the creature first jumped up to lick the woman's face to show his delight before issuing out a bashful cry, meow. It must be said, after leaving the Holy Island, this little tiger cub had done an impeccable job of disguising himself as a cat. Sometimes, even Bai Yan would forget little Rice was in fact a white tiger now. However, when the foolish tiger wildly ran into Bai Yan's embrace, he seems to have forgotten there's still a dangerous figure behind his back. In that same moment, Di Tsong's expression was so dark that it looked like those eyes can shoot lightning at his target. Mother. Not to be outdone by his friend, Bai Shechen also jumped off the throne and tottered over to his mother's side. With a lovely smile, the little steam bun softly said, I heard some people were bullying Uncle, so we came. It's okay now, I can handle this. Gently rubbing the little boy's head, a genuine smile escapes the mother's mouth before turning up to Di Tsong. How come you are here too? Evil yet seductive, Di Tsong gave no doubt that he's in charge. How can I not come when my future brother-in-law is being harmed? Bai Xiao, who was still in the middle of his astonishment, abruptly started to twitch in his expression after hearing that sentence. For some unknown reason, his heart was having a very difficult time accepting that form of address from Di Tsong. So who is it, who's the idiot that's foolish enough to harm my future brother-in-law? Sweeping his threatening gaze across the onlookers, his eyes eventually fell upon Bai Zhengxiang in the end. Plop. Unable to withstand that level of pressure, the man immediately took to the ground and started shivering. Lord Song, Lord Song. Not waiting for Bai Zhengxiang to say another word, Yu Rong had already spoken out with that unrecognizable face due to all that sobbing and bruise. I beg you, Lord Song, please get justice for us. The crowd was baffled and shocked. This. It can't be, did Yu Rong lose her mind from being beaten so hard? Lord Song is obviously here to protect Bai Yan and her brother. Why would she ask him to get justice? Child King, 1, where did this runt come from? I'm warning you, move aside. The leader of the guards swiftly drew his sword and swung it at the kid. As fast as that swing was, Bai Zaken only needed to partially tilt his head to avoid the blade with ease. Pursing his lip, he appeared quite dissatisfied. Mother told me I mustn't get physical under normal circumstances, so I won't fight with you people. However, making an innocent smile, I also have helpers of my own. Clipping his little fingers together to make a whistling noise with his mouth, Bai Shechen didn't need to wait long before a group of dashing red foxes came rushing down the street to attack the guards. Phew, phew. Huffing for air, Xiaopeng suddenly shoots his head around while still pressing Nangong Lin under his body. Shechen, your family actually have so many foxes? This translation is only hosted on Catranslation. Pursing his lips to one side, Mother told me Auntie wanted a fox, that's why I called for them. Since they were nearby after just arriving in the city, I figured they would be good for boosting our might. How can this be merely boosting our might? This is practically supernatural. Unable to close his gaping mouth, Wuxia Xianxia didn't bother to hide his coveting eyes that's twinkling with stars. Xiachen, we are friends, right? Can you give me one too? Contemplating the idea, Bai Xiaochen uncharacteristically shook his head. That won't do. I promised mother that I will let Auntie have a fox. Once she's done choosing, then you can pick. Not minding it in the least, Wuxia Xianxia was literally blooming in his smile. Okay. From now on I don't want to be your brother, I want to be your follower. As compensation, you must give me a female fox. Why a female fox? It's my father's fault. He said because I'm so fat and stupid, I will likely not be able to find a wife in the future. So, I figured if I can't get a wife, I might as well marry a female fox as a wife. To hear the chubby boy's hair-raising comment out of the blue, the foxes still scurrying around by Xiachen's body instantly froze. In their haste due to fear, the female population in the fox pack swiftly made a dash to hide themselves. Xiaopeng, look what you've done, you scared my foxes. Stabbing his hands against his waist, Bai Xiachen gives his chubby friend there a friendly glare to show his discontent. Then, as if remembering something, he turns his head around to look at Nangong Zhuan. Do you also want to pick one? Biting his lip, the frail boy slowly replied, Can I have a tiger instead? Why? Finding it strange, he quickly inquired for more info. Beaming a bright light in his eyes, Nangong Zhuan was surprisingly brave when he answered, A tiger is the king of the animal kingdom. I too want to become a king. Going dark in his little face, Bai Xiachen refutes the claim. Who told you a tiger is the king of the animal kingdom? What's wrong with a fox? Take Little Rice for example. That stupid cub can do nothing but suck. UMB to my oppression. Oh wait, that's not right, it's suck. UMB to mother's delicious food. That's what I read from the books. Scratching his confused head, Nangong Zhuan didn't understand why his friend was so irritated. Am I wrong? Flashing a devious light across his iris, Bai Xiachen suddenly came down with a great idea. I can call for a tiger, but from now on you must say a tiger is inferior to a fox. Nodding earnestly, Nangong Zhuan was very happy over the deal. I promise you, from now on I will only say a fox is stronger than a tiger. Hearing that, Bai Xiachen finally nods with satisfaction. That's right, what tiger and lion, what dragon and phoenix. At the end of the day, all of them must squabble on the ground before a fox. Yes, boss, Nangong straightens up his back. Xiachen is so powerful so his words must be true. What is a boss? Bai Xiachen innocently blinked his eyes. When did I become a boss? If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off adblock helps too. Child King, 2. Did Wuxia Xianxia not say by taking your demon beast, we will be your follower? A genuine smile floats out of Nangong Zhuan's happy face, and, I think that by following you, we won't lose out. Smacking his little head like he just became enlightened, Bai Xiachen proudly pats his friend's shoulder with glee shooting out of his eyes. That's right, follow me and you won't have to worry about not getting meat. Watching how easy his friend over there was able to toy with the newcomer, Wuxia Xianxia, chubby, was starting to get bored of his own fight. In one squat, he directly takes a seat on top of his victim. I'm tired, I need a break so stay there. PFFF. Due to the heavyweight that's known as this chubby kid, poor Nangong Lin, bully, could only splurge out a mouthful of blood before losing consciousness. It's getting late so I have to go back first. Mother is waiting for me to eat dinner. Not forgetting his new friend, Bai Xiachen attempts to drag the skinny boy away with him. If you go back to the palace now, I'm sure those bad people will talk bad things about you in front of Granny Dowager. Why don't you come with me to my home first? This translation is only hosted on Catranslation. Surprisingly, Nangong Zhuan didn't hesitate in the least when he earnestly nodded. All right, I'll follow your words. Seeing this, the chubby kid resting there on his victim could only roll his eyes at how easy it was to kidnap the skinny boy. Hey kid, how dare you fall asleep in front of your boss Chubby here? Wuxia Xianxia had rested enough. Climbing up, He didn't wait to give the unconscious bully a good slapping to knock him out of his coma. Truthfully, Nangong Lin didn't act there, he really did faint a minute ago. I'm warning you, Nangong Zhuan is under my protection. If you bully him again, watch and see if I won't drag you into a dark alley to have a bunch of men go at you. Knocking his chubby face up proudly, Ji Xiaopeng only learned of this saying while he was eavesdropping on a ruffian trying to threaten a woman the other day. He didn't expect it to come in handy here. My father is the crown prince. Nangong Lin was shaking all over as he wept. Not affected in the least by that fat-ridden face, Ji Xiaopeng sends another flurry of slaps across his victim's face to showcase his dominance. Who is the crown prince? My father, Pa. Another slap goes through. You can only say one word. Father. Only then did Ji Xiaopeng toss the fat bully aside. That's right, good son. Now there was no holding back the tears for Nangong Lin. Never in his life had he been insulted and bullied to such an extent. Bai Shuchen, we're leaving. Patting his hands together to clean the dust, Ji Xiaopeng only managed a few steps before he suddenly jerked to a halt. Turning around, starts asking with that twitching face, who did he say his father was? The crown prince, Bai Shuchen kindly answered. Immediately, the chubby made a mournful cry, I'm finished. Don't worry, as long as I'm here, his father won't be able to take revenge on you too. Patting his chest with confidence, Bai Shuchen sounds like his words are law. It's not that, it's my father. He will kill me if he learns of what I did. His father had repeatedly warned him not make trouble outside, yet he's done exactly that. Of all the people he had to hit, he had beaten up the one son belonging to the crown prince of the kingdom. It's all my fault. Seeing the pitiful appearance of his chubby friend, Nangong Zhuan attempts to take responsibility. No, it's not your fault, shaking his chubby head, I'm only getting a beating, what's the big deal? If anything, I will only lose a layer of skin. That Bastard bullied you so he deserves it. Ji Xiaopeng may look like he's having second thoughts now, but even if he did know the fat boy's background and who his father was, he wouldn't have done it differently. Not like my old man will really beat me to death for something so small, right? Forget it, you two go back first. Waving his hand to shoo the two boys away, the chubby kid accepts his fate even if that face said otherwise. A bit uneased over his friend's expression, Bai Shuchen offers his own form of help, I'll be next door. If anything, just yell and call for me. I will rush over to save you. If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off adblock helps too. This is my father. Relax brother, patting his friend in REA's assurance, Ji Xiaopeng went ahead by himself like a prepared inmate heading off for the death road. But as soon as the kid stepped through his home's doorway, a powerful hand had stretched over to grab him by the ears. Stinking brat, tell me, what sort trouble did you make outside today? Father, gentler. With a dead man's face, the chubby kid pleads for mercy. I didn't make any trouble, I really didn't. No trouble? If you didn't make trouble then why did you beat up the crown prince's son? Ji Dichio, father, snapped back at his son's lie. This translation is only hosted on Translation Talk About Fast. Seriously, Ji Xiaopeng didn't expect his father to catch wind of the news so quickly. Father, it's that Bastard's fault. He's the one doing the bullying, I only stepped in because I couldn't watch anymore. At that, the chubby kid puts on a grievance face, and my friend Bai Shuchen also had a hand in this. If you don't believe me, ask him. Loosening his hand from the brat, Ji Dichio suspiciously eyed his son. Shuchen also had a hand? It's true, that Bastard bullied Shuchen's friend, that's why I couldn't hold back. Oh. If even Shuchen is involved then it can't be wrong, giving a warning glare to his son, in the future, you must follow his words. If he tells you to beat someone then go beat them, if he tells you not to then you mustn't no matter what, understand? Wuxia Xianxia was flabbergasted at his old man's order. Father, why is that I can only make a move when Xiachen tells me to? Can you promise that you won't hit me if I do? Not answering right away, Jidichio first gave his son a giant smack before continuing. Xiachen is such a good child. If he's willing to beat another child, then it must be the other party's fault. As for you, you think everyone is like you that will attack others indiscriminately? This is my own father. The chubby here really had no tears left to cry. Why do I feel like I am adopted? Father, then the matter with me hitting the crown prince's son? Ji Xiaopeng cautiously asked, afraid he might take another beating from his father. Nothing but a son of a crown prince? So long as you didn't hit him wrong, then it's fine. Scoffing it off like it's nothing, Jidichio then turned the topic back to his son. If you were half as good as Xiachen, then we wouldn't have had to leave the clan, nor be forced to move to this place. Afraid his father wouldn't let him off once the ranting starts, Ji Xiaopeng was smart enough to sneak away while the old man wasn't paying attention. By the time Jidichio had come to his senses, that small chubby figure was already long gone. This brat, he really likes to be whacked. Back over at the old manor, Bai Yan was still busy reading her book in a leisurely manner, totally ignoring the unfriendly gaze shooting her way by the old elder. Mother. A soft mellowing voice drifted over from the rear. By the time Bai Yan looked up to search for her son, Bai Xiachen had already pounced into her arms to give the woman a heartwarming smooch on the cheek. I'm back, mother. And guess who I brought with me, Nangong Zhuan. P.R.I.C. King her brow, only then did Bai Yan notice the frail-looking kid quickly running over. Apparently Nangong Zhuan was still somewhat uncomfortable. A bit stiff, his eyes revealed a speck of envy at his friend's fortune. If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off adblock helps too. I'm willing to be your disciple. Bai Yan couldn't resist a laugh. He's still a child in the end. Xiachen had always been lacking in company. If able, do you want to stay by our side? Looking on in disbelief at the woman before him, Nangong Zhuan almost couldn't keep his words clear. I can stay? If you want to stay, then no one can drag you away. Slowly getting up, Bai Yan revealed a welcoming appearance. Also, I can see your talent isn't bad, just that they've been buried over the years. If you want, I can take you as my disciple. Are you willing? In the eyes of the child, joy was overflowing. Yes, I want to stay. Xiachen, patting her son's head, you go with him to wash up. I still have other things I need to attend to. In addition. In a flip of her hand, Bai Yan pulls out a bottle of medicine for the young boy. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation. This medicine can cure your internal injuries. After you finish recovering, I will have you begin your training. Watching the precious bottle placed before himself, Nangong Zhuan didn't try to hide the strong level of emotions running through his eyes. Conviction quickly showed itself on the boy's face. Shifu, in the future I will definitely stand at the top and not let you down. As per his vow, the young prince would eventually reach his goal while never forgetting the ones who changed his fate forever. Nangong Zhuan, come, I'll show you to your room. Excited in his action, the little steam bun quickly ran towards the inside to show off his home. Watching the two kids enjoying themselves so much, as a mother and now a Shifu, Bai Yan couldn't resist breaking out a smile at the scene. Miss Bai Yan's eyesight is quite good. A complex look gripped the old elder's face. To think you would come across such a talented sapling. Not showing humility at the praise, Bai Yan takes a sip from the tea handed to her by the nearby maid. So you noticed it too? That child carries pride in his very core. Such attitude will no doubt give him a bright future, so how can I not bring him to my son's side? Moreover, the kid was her son's friend. It's unavoidable that she will be more lenient when it came to children of this age group. Whether or not he can be extraordinary in the future is hard to say. What I do know is that he will need more than just luck. He will need a Shifu that's willing and capable to help him. Making a lamenting sigh, the elder then continues like he just missed a great opportunity. I can see his strength is very low, so I'm assuming he's been neglected for over the years. It's precisely as the old elder said. From the very day Nangong Zhuan was born, his mother had set away, leaving him all alone in this world. Even if a person was talented, it's useless if no one can be there to nurture it. Are you trying to steal him from me? Raising her head, Bai Yan looks on meaningfully at the tempted elder. I won't deny that I am somewhat tempted by the child's buried talent, but the current me don't have the energy or time. To me, the only thing that matters is my young master's well-being. Miss Bai Yan, I must give you this warning. If anything happens to my lord during the treatment, you won't be able to escape responsibility. Just as the old elder had finished his speech, Bai Zhanpeng, sick man, also arrives at the scene under the leadership of Little Rice. Unlike before, his appearance didn't look so weak anymore. Young master. Anxious to check up on his lord, the old elder was shocked to find how obvious the changes were. You're okay? Making a slight nod, Bai Zhanpeng confirms the elder's suspicion. The residual energy inside my body is destroyed. Because of how sudden this great news came at, so sudden that it caught the elder completely off guard, he didn't know how to react. It appears his suspicious attitude from earlier was a horrible mistake. Miss Bai Yan, turning around, the loyal servant makes a respectful bow. I apologize for my offense from earlier. Thank you for saving my young master. If it weren't for you, then, if you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off adblock helps too. He is a 5th rank alchemist. The more he talked, the more the tears came rolling out of the elder. How many years has it been? For the young master's illness, the medicine sect had exhausted everything to only come out with nothing. But now, this girl was able to cure it with minimal effort. No matter what, she will forever be the benefactor of the whole medicine sect. Just that, can I ask what sort of method did your kitty use? A faint glow emulated out of the elder. We've tried many things over the years, but all had failed at what you did with ease. This, Bai Yan's expression became a little awkward. That's difficult to say. Startled, the answer was honestly outside of the elder's expectation because the girl only had to say no instead of saying it in such a roundabout way. This translation is only hosted on Translation, young master. Since Bai Yan wouldn't tell him, he can only turn around for the patient instead. Like Bai Yan, the sick man also showed a somewhat awkward expression. I don't know either. When I got into the room, the next thing I knew was that I fainted away. By the time I awoke, the wisp of energy inside my body was gone. Now the situation only got more awkward. Showing an embarrass. Said glow on her cheeks. Bai Yan only didn't want to explain the procedure because she knew the man would refuse if she did. That's why she gave the wink to Little Rice when they left. It's to tell the tiger cub what to do. That's so, the elder appeared disappointed. Because of this reason, he seems to have misjudged Bai Yan as not wanting to reveal the secret instead of just being embarrassed. Said. No matter though, what's important to him was his young master's health, so everything else can step aside. I have here a written prescription. Rummaging through her pocket, Bai Yan finally found the paper she had prepared earlier, by the items on the list for me. It's to help your young master's health. His physical body hasn't recovered yet, so he needs some pills to aid him. Shocked by those words, the elder immediately spread open the folded paper to be completely surprised by the content. Frowning, he was perplexed by the recipe. There are numerous alchemists in the medicine sect, plus he too was a 5th-grade alchemist, but never had he seen such a combination of ingredients. Miss Bai Yan, what kind of medicine are you trying to concoct? A 5th-grade Vitality Rejuvenation Pill. Vitality Rejuvenation Pill was the byproduct of her research in improving the biorestoration Dan pill used by Old Lord Lon back when the grandpa was ill. The reason why the other pill wouldn't be effective here was due to Bai Zhanpeng's body. It's much more severe. 5th-grade medicine. Compared to this never before heard of Dan pill, the elder was more surprised by the girl instead. Though he himself may be a 5th-rank alchemist, but that's due to many years of effort and study. While on Bai Yan's side, she was no more than 20, an age not even half of the elder's. A 20-something 5th-rank alchemist. Is she trying to give me a heart attack? Bai Yan made a face like she won't be refused. His body is too weak. Unless I use something of that level, he won't be able to recover. Therefore, you must prepare over 10 portions. With that much material, I should be able to create 100 pills for him, more than enough until his body is fully recovered. Shuddering in his hands, the elder almost couldn't catch his breath. Miss Bai Yan, you say you can create 10 pills in one pot? Bai Yan frowned, perplexed by the question. At least 10 per pot. But just in case, I asked for a bigger portion as insurance. What? At least 10? Then what if there's extra? The elder almost couldn't keep his head together now due to the astonishing shock from the girl's statement. In his desperation, he had to keep reminding himself it must be a lie, an exaggeration. In truth, due to Bai Yan's closed-off living style at the Holy Island over the years, her interaction with other alchemists in this world were limited. Even if she did meet a few out on her travels after leaving the Bai house, the numbers wouldn't be very high, hence the reason why she's unaware of how high her own alchemy was. There shouldn't be that many as bad as her own 3 shifis, right? If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off ad block helps too. Music Valley's mistress, too, I can allow Bai Yan to become my side wife, however, raising a smirk, Nangong Yi pauses before continuing, I won't allow her bastard child into my house. Bai Ruo too also raised an imperceptible smile at her husband's declaration. Husband, don't worry, I can assure you my sister will do it. She's a smart person, she will know what's best for her. Di Tsang may be strong right now, plus she has the flower brothel in her hands, but neither of them can match up to our son's status. Our son is born under the worship of the animals in this world, making him destined to be extraordinary. Even it is Di Tsang, the only future awaiting that man is kneeling before our son. A faint sinister glow beams out of her eye. Like his wife, Nangong Yi's expression also improved somewhat. If she really is so smart, why did she refuse me and chose Di Tsang instead? So what if Di Tsang is powerful? In the future, this kingdom and the world will eventually be my son's. By then, I will have that man never be able to stand up again. Husband, making a faint chuckle, Bai Ruo puts on a confident face. That's because back then you didn't love her. If you simply pretend that you do, I'm sure she would fall into your arms at the slightest push. Humph, Bai Yan is indeed very clever. Unfortunately for her, such a futile approach in luring me is useless. I will never love her. If anything, the most I will do is covet her body and beauty. Love her? Never. Slowly exhaling a breath of relief, Bai Ruo only said all this because she was honestly worried her husband would fall heads over heels for that girl. My love, you get a good rest first, I will go deal with this matter. Caressing his wife's forehead to appease the woman, I promise you, once I have Bai Yan in my hands, I will give the flower brothel to you for management. Not wanting the man to think of her as the coveting and material type, Bai Ruo closes her eye to cover that joyful look. Instead, she puts on a soft mellowing voice, Husband, I only care for you in this world. That flower brothel and whatever, I don't care for any of it. In this world, there's nothing better than a woman professing her love for you. Very moved by that statement, Nangong Yi tightly holds onto his wife's hand. My love, my promise will not change once it's given. Just wait, I will make you the mistress of the flower brothel. But, my sister won't agree. Bai Ruo tightens her lip to make a helpless expression. Scoffing a laugh, Nangong Yi didn't think twice when answering. In this world, it's always the husband first. Once she's mine, the ownership of the flower brothel will naturally be in my hands. By then, what else can she say? After saying this, the man releases his wife and attempts to tidy up that strand of stray hair on the woman's head. I'll go write a letter to the Music Valley now. Just wait, I will have you and your sister reunited in no time. Ha 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 ha. It's unsure if it's due to the illusion of himself getting the flower brothel soon, or due to the fact that he will be able to possess that peerless woman, but his mood was twice as good as when he first came into the bedchamber. Not his daughter, watching her husband's departing back, Bai Ruo inexplicably tightened her hands into a fist until the nails had pierced the skin. Bai Yan, consider yourself lucky this time. After I take the Phoenix brothel from your hands, I won't let you live. As hypocritical as this woman was, she's not at the stage where she's willing to share her husband with the enemy. Inside the capital city inn, incessant coughing repeatedly rang out of a certain room here reserved for the most prestigious of their guests. Young master, I've finished investigating as per your command. The elder standing next to the patient respectfully reports, worried over the incessant coughing of his young lord. Oh. Pricking his brow, then what sort of background does that girl have? The old elder sneaks a glance before answering. Her mother is Lanue, the daughter of the Lan house in the city. As for her father, he's the current house chief of the Bai family. However, it's said that she's been expelled by her father recently. This translation is only hosted on Translation. Frowning, the middle-aged man became doubtful. Are you sure that her mother is the lady of the Lan house and that she isn't adopted? This information is definite without fault. Young master, I believe the girl from yesterday is only similar to the young lady. They aren't necessarily related, the elder helplessly sighed. He too had wondered why there's someone so similar in appearance, but now it's obvious that the young lass wasn't related to their own missing lady. Maybe it's due to the bad news, but the coughing only got worse with every passing minute where the patient sounded like he's about to cough out his lungs. Do you know where the girl lives? Young master, you want to? The elder was a tad surprised, so he quickly followed up with a deep frown. Not minding the protesting look coming his way, the middle-aged man only smiled bitterly. I can't help it. Ever since I saw that girl, her face had been lingering in my mind, unable to disperse no matter what. Even if she does have nothing to do with my sister, I still want to go see her. Keeping quiet for a brief moment, the elder decides to speak his mind anyways. Young master, your identity is very sensitive. If others were to learn of it. It's fine, I'm only going to meet her. There won't be any danger. Supporting himself with his hand, the patient appears to be struggling to climb out of the bed. Lead the way. Helpless in his demeanor, the elder can only do as instructed. Very well, young master, please come with me. Logically speaking, he, as the loyal servant, should write a letter immediately to inform his old master of the situation. However, he fears the unkind truth might bring even more harm to everyone after what he witnessed in the past. Ugh hug. Seeing his young lord coughing again, the elder rushes back over to help only to be pushed away. I'm not so sick that I need someone to support me. If she sees me in that state, it won't be good. Gently wiping the trickle of blood from the corner of his mouth, the middle-aged man slowly walked for the doorway on his own. Just like that, one cough and 2 steps, they headed for the outside in this terrible state. The loyal elder really was hurting inside. As much as he wanted to stop this outrageous act of stubbornness, he too understands no one can stop the young lord when he's in this state. Together, they spent over 30 minutes to reach the old manor, which would normally take no more than half of that time for any old regular person. Who are you two, and what do you want? The 2 guards standing watch sternly yelled out this question at the sight of the strangers coming their way. Very displeased by the obstruction, the elder was ready to make an example of these impudent people when a hand stopped him. I am here to look for your mistress, Bai Yen. A business deal, too. With that said, he then turns back to Bai Yen with an open grin. Can I ask for your name? It's Bai Yen. Miss, your surname is Bai? Then Xiachen follows your name. W.A.N. Jidichio was a bit surprised there. Under normal circumstances, Bai Xiachen should be following the father's name, not the mother's. Seeing W.A.N. Jidichio's astonished reaction, Bai Yen raises a smirk and said, Is there something else? It's like this. Earlier I had learned from your son that you are in possession of some Dan pills. Can you sell them to me? I will pay however much you like. W.A.N. Jidichio's eyes were glowing like a wolf staring at its prey, hungry and craving for meat. Pondering in silence for a moment, Bai Yen in the end responded, What grade are you looking for? 3rd grade or higher is enough. All right. I can provide you with anything below 5th grade. As to the price, I will have my people come negotiate with you. This translation is only hosted on Translation. W.N. Jidichio's heart had literally tensed up due to quick confirmation. At most he only expected Bai Yen to provide him with some 3rd or 4th grade Dan pills, not some high-level stuff like some 5th grade. This, is no different from a great surprise. Pricing is not an issue. May I know when you can provide me with the products and how much? The 3rd and 4th grade pills will be 100 each per month. As for the 5th grade ones, I will need you to provide the ingredients instead. As to the number, it will depend entirely on luck as to how much I can make. Dichio's eyes grew even brighter. She can make? Then doesn't that mean this Miss Bai Yan is a 5th rank alchemist? Okay, I'll leave all of that to your expertise. As for the payment, I'll be sure to make it fair for you. It's not his money that's being spent anyways, it's the main branch who's paying, meaning he can accept it no matter how high it goes. Not saying anything more, Bai Yan turns for her home. In a blink, her figure was gone from the W.A.N.G. family's view. Father, you are plotting something, aren't you? A greedy person like you would never be so easy to negotiate with. W.A.N.G. Xiaopeng looked puzzled at his old man. What's nonsense are you saying? Huffing with displeasure at his son's accusation, remember those pills Xiachen gave you? I sent one of them to your grandfather. After its appraisal, the alchemists back at home said the effects are far superior to any other out there. That's why I never sold a single one of the pills that I confiscated. I offered them all to your grandfather and was given explicit permission to purchase as many as I can. Showing a cheeky smile, W.A.N.G. Dichio was very confident about this deal. If he succeeds, it's likely he and his family will be able to return to the clan through these Dan pills. So that's why, it's not your money. No wonder you are so quick to say yes. The chubby knocks a sneer, holding his father in contempt. There's no illusion in W.A.N.G. Xiaopeng's mind that his father was a profiteer of the highest level. No matter how small the deal, even a small purchase at the market, his old man would squeeze the opponent dry for all they had before he's satisfied. How can you say that about your old man? Since you won't be inheriting the main household anyways, why not take advantage of this fact and benefit ourselves and our friends in the process? Shooting his inconsiderate son a glare, the greedy man really wanted to give the kid another smack. This was his main purpose, to take a big cut out of the main family. He only left the main clan because he was forced to, not because he wanted to. As for why he had to, his older brother and nephew definitely had a hand in pushing for the outcome when they were down. Scratching his head, the chubby was still uncertain over his old man's plan, but will Grandpa agree? Ho ho, showing a devious smile, W.N.G. Dichio sounded very confident. I have already informed your grandfather ahead of time. I said the reason why these Dan pills are so good is because the alchemist in question had overspent their time in concocting this batch. Therefore, it's limited and can't meet demand. If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off adblock helps too. Youngster Wenru, 1, when the time comes, he too will have the capital to make demands. Brat, you have to study these business tricks well. Even if you can't inherit the main family's fortune, you must at least be able to fend for yourself and not be butchered to death. Wang Dichio really wanted to smack his son again for being so lazy. If this kid could be even half as good as Xiachen, then I won't have Tori so much. I got it, the chubby gives a perfunctory nod. Next second, Wang Xiaopeng had already dashed away for the door because he knew what his old man was planning to do next. Furthermore, this naughty kid didn't forget to stick his tongue out as his own form of retaliation. Grimacing at the brat's demeanor, Wang Dichio starts giving his son the chase. You stinking brat, watch how I will beat your butt silly this time. Back over at the old manor, Bai Yan was busy sipping away at her tea while waiting for her subordinate to arrive. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation, mistress. Is there something you need by calling for me? Hualuo, head of the flower brothel, makes a partial kneel after entering the main reception hall. I made a business deal with the Wang family from next door. Have Lady Chu go negotiate the terms with them. Yes, mistress, the enchanting woman respectfully complied. Oh yes, I wanted to ask you for a while now, how are the training for those alchemists going? Lowering her teacup, Bai Yan softly asked. In this world, strength was most certainly important, but that's not all there was to it. Alchemists are also important in a different way. The powerful undoubtedly can take whatever they want with their sheer strength, but alchemists have their own means to get what they want. Even without a high level of cultivation, they can turn to other powerful individuals to ask for help if needed. That's why, starting from 3 years ago, Bai Yan had secretly gathered a group of alchemists for her own use. Just that due to her own busy lifestyle, she never once checked on their progress. Mistress, the alchemists we brought in have all made great improvements, with every single one of them reaching at least 2nd rank. For those more talented, we now got 30 at the 3rd level and 9 at the 4th level. Then what about the 5th level? She asked with a frown. This, except for Wenru, no one else was able to achieve such results. Wenru was a person Bai Yan met along her journey 3 years ago. At the time the youngster was still arrogant and rude, therefore, the two quickly got into a conflict after they became interested in the same treasure. If martialists like to settle their scores by having a fighting match, it's only proper the alchemist profession would compete with their skills in alchemy. And that's precisely what the two did. After losing, Wenru had since sworn allegiance to Bai Yan. No one being able to break into the 5th level is within my expectations, but the number of 4th ranks are too low. How can there be only 9 people when we conscripted over 200 talented genius back then? Bai Yan's expression clearly didn't look so good as she slowly got up from her chair. Nervous in her tone, Hualuo knew her next words will only make the woman even unhappier. Nevertheless, she says it anyway out of loyalty. Of the 9 people, 5 of them were already at the 3rd level. In other words, 3 years of effort yielded nothing more than a 1-level increase. Hualuo, bring me to see those alchemists. I want to check for myself why this is happening. This certainly cannot go on. I must think of some way to help these people advance further as soon as possible. Inside the courtyard that's almost perennially covered in a smoky mist due to the constant use of the stoves, a large group of hard-working men were busy concocting their respective Dan pills with their cauldrons. Ah! A loud screaming cry suddenly broke the tranquility here. The reasoning for this was Bai Yan's unmerciful kick at the figure who attempted to charge her at the first moment she stepped through the doorway. Sprawled there with his arms and legs on the ground, the handsome boy known as Wenru puts on a pathetic look of grievance at his attacker. How come I can't see through your cultivation anymore? Don't tell me you made another breakthrough again? Aside from the alchemic contest they did 3 years ago, they also competed in their cultivation. The end result, a very miserable defeat that left him admitting defeat both physically and spiritually. Even so, he could still perceive the girl's cultivation. But now, he couldn't, like the woman was shrouded in a thick layer of mist. To heal you, 3, pausing in her words, Bai Yan made it look like her next question was unintentional. What about Ditsang? Lord Sung He. After moving his things over, he then left again by himself. The guard reports, careful in his tone to not offend the woman. Breaking out into an irritated laugh, it seems he have really taken my place as his own. No matter, once his estate is repaired, I will have him out of here immediately. As nice as that idea was, Bai Yan was still immature in these sort of things. For people like Ditsang, it's impossible to drive him away once he's in. With her questions out of the way and nothing else to do for the next while, Bai Yan figured she might as well continue reading her book. Just like that, one woman and one awkward-looking elder waited silently in this pristine courtyard. Back outside at the city street, Wang Xiaopeng was busy gobbling up the delicious snacks in front of himself. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation. I didn't expect the capital to have such delicious things around. It's even better than the big restaurants. Grinning, the chubby kid shoots a glance at Bai Xiachen, who's also busy watching his friend's insane ability to devour everything. Hey Xiachen, why aren't you introducing your new friend over there? Originally Nangong Zhuan, bullied prince, was still amazed at why Wang Xiaopeng can eat so much, but upon hearing the question, his skinny little body quickly stiffened up. Subconsciously, he lowered his head due to low confidence. He's called Nangong Zhuan, someone I saved from being bullied inside the palace. Pointing at his new friend, Bai Xiachen puts on a bossy appearance. He will be under my protection from now on. If anyone dares to bully him, I will clobber them. If he's your brother, then he is my brother too. Jerking up from his chair, Wang Xiaopeng uses that chubby-looking hand filled with grease to pat the poor boy's shoulder. Don't worry, as long as you have me and Xiachen around, we will beat your enemies up for you. As if to meet that vow, Bai Xiachen suddenly points his finger at the background. Xiaopeng, your chance is here. You see that fat kid with the bunch of soldiers tailing him? He's the one who's been bullying him. Following the boy's line of view, the chubby kid soon caught sight of the mentioned group. Rude and pompous in their demeanor, these people are exactly like the way Bai Xiachen described them. Holy! There is actually someone fatter than me. Immediately pulling up his sleeves, Wang Xiaopeng looked like he's ready to go at it. It's bad enough he's fatter than me, but he's also bullying my friend. Just watch you two, I will show you how to properly teach a person not to mess with us. Leaving only these words behind, the chubby kid instantly shot out like a cannonball for Nangong Lin's Bully Prince location. Let's go, we will watch from the side. Pulling his new friend along, Bai Xiachen's eye was twinkling with delight at his enemy's misfortune. Startled there, Nangong Zhuan sounded hesitant. Isn't this sort of bad? He's not afraid of his enemy per se, he's afraid of Wang Xiaopeng getting into trouble for his sake. Just as Nangong Zhuan was still struggling to come to terms on what to do, Wang Xiaopeng had already pounced onto his target and knocked the fat bully to the ground. Using that greasy hand, he starts pummeling the frightened target, screaming for help. Royal grandson. The guards were all gripped with shock at the suddenness of it all. Just when they were ready to aid their lord, a spooky figure had already blocked their path. Aren't you people ashamed of yourself? A fight between two kids doesn't need the intervention of us adults. Knocking his small little head up, Bai Xiachen seems to have forgotten something. He too was but a 5-year-old child. Little bully wants to tame a beast, twitching in the corner of his mouth. When Ru practically jolted backwards like it would make a difference. I was just joking. Don't kid around. What sort of place is the flower brothel? How can this woman be so cruel and make me go take customers there? Bai Yan's smile was very gentle. Rest assured, if you have needs, the flower brothel will always be open for you. But if you just want to be a customer for one of the girls, I can have Hualuo give you a discount instead. Imbara. Said by the T's, when Ru finally came out of his sh. When Hualuo shot him a tempting wink. Hey, Big Bai, you can't be so mean to me. At the very least I'm still an innocent and pure boy. Don't you think it's too much dumping me into such a category? Too lazy to keep up with the nonsense, Bai Yan went ahead and tossed the book she prepared ahead of time for the boy. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation. What is this? Nearly dropping it due to how sudden the act was, when Ru asks with confusion in his voice. It hasn't been very long since you grasped the secret behind the 5th level of alchemy. To help you refine your skills and help you get a firm grasp, I've written down all the key points you need to look out for. The information inside will undoubtedly raise your rate of success by many miles. Due to the intense excitement of the news, when Ru nearly dropped the book again because of how shaky his hands were. When did you become so good to me? The boy's appearance now was like a baby. Red in the cheeks, he was literally hugging the book like a child getting a new toy. Showing an unbelievable smile that could captivate thousands, Bai Yan didn't hide her motive. Your strength isn't enough right now. Only by increasing your alchemy and raising these people can you help me in what I want. Come Hualuo, we're leaving. No more than a few steps out, she suddenly turns around again, when Ru, if you want to come find me then go look for Lan Xiaoyun, girl cousin, of the Lan house inside the capital city. She knows where I live. With that said, the two enchanting figures were gone and out the door. The entire time, Hualuo was always showing her charming smile because she knew her mistress had a stubborn mouth but a soft heart. Don't Sun Bai Yan was bad just because she likes to bully when Ru, but in actual fact, the girl had prepared the book long before her visit today for the boy. That's her form of caring for others. Though not always easy to spot, but it's there. With the precious book in his hand, when Ru too didn't have the heart to keep flirting with Bai Yan. Alone with his treasure, he returns to his room for a thorough reading and became very surprised to find all of his previous questions answered easily with the information he's been given. At this very same moment over at the Crown Prince's estate, an ear-deafening shriek for help was shaking the whole place apart. What happened? Because of her injury, Bairoa could only limp her way out of the room to check. In one look, she was horrified to find her son being chased around by a wild wolf. In this world, aside from demon beasts, there are also common animals like bears, wolves, and other predatory animals. Take this wolf for examples. It's nothing more than a regular wolf that was captured recently by Nangong Yi, Crown Prince, on one of his hunting trips. Due to the ferocious nature of this one, the prince had specifically locked it up in a cage to slowly tame it, yet who would have guessed the fat bully would go unlock the animal from its cage? Mother, save me. There were no illusions about the level of duress in that plea for help. Quick, go save my son. Bairoa could literally feel her heart jumping out of her body due to the intense pounding it was making. Following the order, one of the guards promptly took out his bow and knocked an arrow for the hungry wolf. Because of the sharp aim from this soldier, the arrow landed precisely at the wolf's eye, blinding it in the process and saving the child from being gobbled up in the nick of time. Not going to miss this chance, Nangong Lin, bully, swiftly ran behind his mother's leg for comfort and protection. Son, why did you release your father's wolf from its cage? As soon as the scene from just now came up again, Bairoa's complexion instantly took on an ashen white. If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off adblock helps too. Little bully wants to tame a beast, too, mother. They say the one who is worshipped by the animals must have the ability to tame the creatures. I want to tame this wolf to prove I am the most powerful person in the world. Hearing the aggrieved tone in her son, Bairoa's voice promptly turned sharp. Who is it that told you these things? It's Bai Shechen's little friend's parent. However, before the fat kid could finish the ending part of his sentence, the woman had already summed it's that rascal Bai Shechen's fault. Huffing with clear anger in her rapid breathing, it took a rather long time before Bairoa could return her gentle gaze back down to the child in her arms. Son, you must always remember that you are the most prestigious person in the world. That Bai Shechen is only jealous of your status, that's why he's trying to manipulate you and confuse you. Despite the comforting words, the fat bully only looked up with his teary eyes. Then why did that wolf not listen to me? This translation is only hosted on Catranslation. That's an ordinary wolf without any form of intellect. How can it possibly recognize you? Moreover, such a lowly existence isn't qualified to surrender to you. Remember, you are destined to control the world's demon beast. Only real demon beasts can understand how great your ident. 1. Tai is. But Bai Shechen can order a lot of foxes at will. Nothing but. Bairoa instantly cuts the boy off, her expression serious. Son, whether it be Nangong Zhuan or Bai Shechen, all of them must live under the control of your will in the future. If you find the opportunity, you must end them in the most miserable way, understand? Who the hell is Bai Shechen? How dare he compare himself to my son? He's not even qualified to wash my son's feet. I understand, mother. From the depressed and sulky attitude, the fat bully was now invigorated with a renewed enthusiasm. I will never let that Bai Shechen and Nangong Zhuan get away with what they've done to me. Also, mother, I saw a little girl today. Can I make her my bed-warming maid? How dare that chubby kid beat me? Then I will SNTCH his sister over to warm my bed. That's fine, Bairoa laughed. This world will eventually be yours, so that girl should be thankful for your generosity. Tell me which household it is. I will have someone go over there and buy the girl for you. Going bright in his weasel eye, the fat bully was BRIMMING with energy. Mother, it's not just the little girl, I also want her brother to become my slave. Okay, everything will be as you wish. In this city, there's only Di Tsang who I wouldn't dare trifle with. Aside from that, who else would dare go against royal authority? Besides, isn't it just a little girl? If things don't go through, all I have to do is bring out a few Dan pills. By then I like to see the other party still refuse the request. It was at this moment a palace maid came running over. Crown Princess, someone is requesting an audience. Slightly wrinkling her brow, Bairoa asked, who is it? The person said they are from the Music Valley. Music Valley? Evoking a sinister smirk, finally, they are here. Quick, invite them into the reception hall. I will arrive in a moment. Yes, Crown Princess, making a respectful bow, the maid quickly disappears from Bai Ruo's view. First making sure her son was well taken care of by the maids, Bai Ruo then headed for the main hall herself. But due to the injury on her hind, the speed that she moved at was awfully slow despite being supported by several servants. Back over at the reception hall, a female character donning a gorgeous blue dress was already sitting in wait by the time Bai Ruo arrived at the scene. Aside from those mountainous things in the front, everything about this person radiated a stunning presence. This was especially true with that face because that milky complexion looked like it could literally be milked if squeezed. If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off adblock helps too. This is my father. Relax, brother, patting his friend in reassurance. Wang Xiaopeng went ahead by himself like a prepared inmate heading off for the death road. But as soon as the kid stepped through his home's doorway, a powerful hand had stretched over to grab him by the ears. Stinking brat, tell me, what sort trouble did you make outside today? Father, gentler, gentler. With a dead man's face, the chubby kid pleads for mercy. I didn't make any trouble, I really didn't. No trouble? If you didn't make trouble, then why did you beat up the crown prince's son? Wang Deqiu, father, snapped back at his son's lie. This translation is only hosted on Translation Talk About Fast. Seriously, Wang Xiaopeng didn't expect his father to catch wind of the news so quickly. Father, it's that bastard's fault. He's the one doing the bullying, I only stepped in because I couldn't watch anymore. At that, the chubby kid puts on a grievance face, and my friend Bai Xiachen also had a hand in this. If you don't believe me, ask him. Loosening his hand from the brat, Wang Deqiu suspiciously eyed his son. Xiachen also had a hand? It's true, that bastard bullied Xiachen's friend, that's why I couldn't hold back. Oh. If even Xiachen is involved, then it can't be wrong, giving a warning glare to his son. In the future, you must follow his words. If he tells you to beat someone, then go beat them. If he tells you not to, then you mustn't, no matter what, understand? Wang Xiaopeng was flabbergasted at his old man's order. Father, why is that I can only make a move when Xiachen tells me to? Can you promise that you won't hit me if I do? Not answering right away, Wang Deqiu first gave his son a giant smack before continuing. Xiachen is such a good child. If he's willing to beat another child, then it must be the other party's fault. As for you, you think everyone is like you that will attack others indiscriminately? This is my own father. The chubby here really had no tears left to cry. Why do I feel like I am adopted? Father, then the matter with me hitting the crown prince's son? Wang Xiaopeng cautiously asked, afraid he might take another beating from his father. Nothing but a son of a crown prince? So long as you didn't hit him wrong, then it's fine. Scoffing it off like it's nothing, Wang Deqiu then turned the topic back to his son. If you were half as good as Xiachen, then we wouldn't have had to leave the clan, nor be forced to move to this place. Afraid his father wouldn't let him off once the ranting starts, Wang Xiaopeng was smart enough to sneak away while the old man wasn't paying attention. By the time Wang Deqiu had come to his senses, that small chubby figure was already long gone. This brat, he really likes to be whacked. Back over at the old manor, Bai Yan was still busy reading her book in a leisurely manner, totally ignoring the unfriendly gaze shooting her way by the old elder. Mother. A soft mellowing voice drifted over from the rear. By the time Bai Yan looked up to search for her son, Bai Xiachen had already pounced into her arms to give the woman a heartwarming smooch on the cheek. I'm back, mother. And guess who I brought with me, Nangong Zhuan. Pricking her brow, only then did Bai Yan notice the frail-looking kid quickly running over. Apparently Nangong Zhuan was still somewhat uncomfortable. A bit stiff, his eyes revealed a speck of envy at his friend's fortune. Mu Qing Song, too, at the time Bai Ji also told our sister Bai Yan this matter, but who could have guessed she would impersonate our younger sister? And to make matters worse, she bewitched Lord Song into crippling our father. By the time Bai Ruo raised her head, those eyes were already streaming with tears to show how pitiful her image was. Originally Mu Qing Song was a tad displeased to learn of her man being possessed by another woman, but since it's out of reluctance and trickery, her foul mood immediately dissipated. So long as that man is mine from here on forward, then it's fine. I can ignore his past and move for the future. I understand the story now. Tell me, where does that woman live? I will seek her out immediately. Mu Qing Song's expression was very ugly as she stood up. Okay, I will have my people lead your ladyship over. Bai Ruo thought she was smart here, deliberately omitting the part about the flower brothel, but it's just her own one-sided feeling. No, you only need to tell me her location and that is enough. Sneering, the woman had no doubt about her own ability to win the man of her heart. This translation is only hosted on Translation. Going silent for a good second, Bai Ruo appears to have come up with another idea with those eyes she's showing. I don't know where Bai Yan currently lives. However, if you go to the lawn house inside the city, you will definitely be able to force her to appear. In reality, since the day Bai Jingxiang discovered Bai Yan's relationship with the flower brothel, she had already learned of the old manor's existence. But simply having this wonderful chess piece complete one simple task wouldn't be very satisfying, would it? It's unsure what Mu Qing Song thought of that statement, but she didn't utter another word and immediately took her leave. But as soon as she stepped out of the main doorway, a woman in green promptly lands from behind the woman. Mistress, I believe that Bai Ruo may not necessarily be telling the truth. Should I go investigate beforehand? Raising a smirk, Mu Qing Song will have none of it, whether or not she's telling the truth, what does it matter? The fact still remains that the woman is seducing my man with her foxy ways. For that, no form of mercy shall be given. Nothing but a cheap wrench. In my music valley there's plenty to go around. Let's go, we're heading to that lawn house. I will first deal with that cheap bitch. Yes, mistress. Meanwhile over at the lawn house, the occupants of the estate was busy smothering Bai Shechen with hugs and kisses after the boy made an unexpected visit. This was especially true for old Madame Lan, who was practically strangling the poor boy. Oh my good grandson, I missed you to death after you didn't visit for so many days. In the end, it was old Lord Lan who came to save the day after not being able to watch on anymore. Coughing twice, he accusingly eyed his wife. Do you want to suffocate your own grandson at this rate? That's when the old granny discovered her own folly. Hurrying to let go, her face was all apologetic. Oh child, why didn't you say anything if you were uncomfortable? How can I do that when grandma you missed me so much? Bai Shechen's appearance was very well behaved, winning even more points from all the family. Sure enough, the wonderful reply only made the old grandma even more distressed. How can those people from the Bai house sell this wonderful child? They must be blind both inside and outside to do such a thing. If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off ad block helps too. He is a 5th rank alchemist. The more he talked, the more the tears came rolling out of the elder. How many years has it been? For the young master's illness, the medicine sect had exhausted everything to only come out with nothing. But now, this girl was able to cure it with minimal effort. No matter what, she will forever be the benefactor of the whole medicine sect. Just that, can I ask what sort of method did your kitty use? A faint glow emulated out of the elder. We've tried many things over the years, but all had failed at what you did with ease. This, Bai Yan's expression became a little awkward. That's difficult to say. Startled, the answer was honestly outside of the elder's expectation because the girl only had to say no instead of saying it in such a roundabout way. This translation is only hosted on Translation, young master. Since Bai Yan wouldn't tell him, he can only turn around for the patient instead. Like Bai Yan, the sick man also showed a somewhat awkward expression. I don't know either. When I got into the room, the next thing I knew was that I fainted away. By the time I awoke, the wisp of energy inside my body was gone. Now the situation only got more awkward. Showing an embarrassed glow on her cheeks, Bai Yan only didn't want to explain the procedure because she knew the man would refuse if she did. That's why she gave the wink to Little Rice when they left. It's to tell the tiger cub what to do. That's so, the elder appeared disappointed. Because of this reason, he seems to have misjudged Bai Yan as not wanting to reveal the secret instead of just being embarrassed. No matter though, what's important to him was his young master's health, so everything else can step aside. I have here a written prescription. Rummaging through her pocket, Bai Yan finally found the paper she had prepared earlier, by the items on the list for me. It's to help your young master's health. His physical body hasn't recovered yet, so he needs some pills to aid him. Shocked by those words, the elder immediately spread open the folded paper to be completely surprised by the content. Frowning, he was perplexed by the recipe. There are numerous alchemists in the medicine sect, plus he too was a 5th-grade alchemist, but never had he seen such a combination of ingredients. Miss Bai Yan, what kind of medicine are you trying to concoct? A 5th-grade Vitality Rejuvenation Pill. Vitality Rejuvenation Pill was the byproduct of her research in improving the biorestoration Dan pill used by Old Lord Lon back when the grandpa was ill. The reason why the other pill wouldn't be effective here was due to Bai Zhanpeng's body. It's much more severe. 5th-grade medicine? Compared to this never before heard of Dan pill, the elder was more surprised by the girl instead. Though he himself may be a 5th-rank alchemist, but that's due to many years of effort and study. While on Bai Yan's side, she was no more than 20, an age not even half of the elder's. A 20-something 5th-rank alchemist, is she trying to give me a heart attack? Bai Yan made a face like she won't be refused. His body is too weak. Unless I use something of that level, he won't be able to recover. Therefore, you must prepare over 10 portions. With that much material, I should be able to create 100 pills for him, more than enough until his body is fully recovered. Shuddering in his hands, the elder almost couldn't catch his breath. Miss Bai Yan, you say you can create 10 pills in one pot? Bai Yan frowned, perplexed by the question. At least 10 per pot. But just in case, I asked for a bigger portion as insurance. What? At least 10? Then what if there's extra? The elder almost couldn't keep his head together now due to the astonishing shock from the girl's statement. In his desperation, he had to keep reminding himself it must be a lie, an exaggeration. In truth, due to Bai Yan's closed-off living style at the Holy Island over the years, her interaction with other alchemists in this world were limited. Even if she did meet a few out on her travels after leaving the Bai house, the numbers wouldn't be very high, hence the reason why she's unaware of how high her own alchemy was. There shouldn't be that many as bad as her own 3 shifis, right? Almost exposed, too. Who are you? While the Lon family was still unsure why the woman was looking for Bai Yan, they suddenly noticed the loathsome look directed at Bai Shechen from the person. Little Shechen. In her haste, Lon Xiaoyan swiftly dragged the boy behind herself to shield her nephew. Auntie, you don't have to worry about me. Patting the girl like a big adult, Bai Shechen actively pulled his head back out to face the intruder. Is there something you need in looking for my mother? You are Bai Yan's son. Mu Qingsong snickered a laugh. No wonder I don't like him at first glance. Turns out to be the wild child of that warehouse O.R.E. Understanding now the person might not be coming with good intent, Old Lord Lon quickly cast a signaling glance at Dong Rulan, Bai Yan's aunt, to go look for her husband for help. Understanding this, the woman immediately nodded and retreated away. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation, this lady. Shifting his gaze back over to Mu Qingsong, Old Lord Lan's voice was indifferent and somewhat cold. If you are here to visit as a guest, then I'd be happy to welcome you. However, if you are here with malicious intent, I fear that my home isn't fit to entertain you. This time it wasn't Mu Qingsong who spoke, it was the woman in green behind her who stepped forward. Snapping back with a harsh and stern tone, who do you think you are to talk to my mistress like that? Hurry and have that Bai Yan crawl out here before we make her. If they still had to guess the intent of these women before, now they don't because it's pretty obvious they are not friendly. This grandmother. Seeing the rudeness from the green woman, Bai Shechen finally showed a touch of anger in his cute little face. Did your parents not teach you to respect the old and love the young? My mother had always taught me that's the proper way to interact with people. Are you not ashamed? Flaring with fire in her eyes, the woman in green instantly disappeared and reappeared in front of the kid. Raising her hand, she was ready to give Bai Shechen a good slapping. Careful Xiachen. In her panic, Lan Xiaoyun could only react fast enough to use her body to cover the boy, leaving herself wide open for attack. Bai Shechen's expression was getting colder and colder as he focused in on that hand. However bloodthirsty, however frightening, no one was going to notice his drastic change in appearance though. The reasoning, because a very unfitting cat-like cry suddenly broke the tense atmosphere. Meow. Pouncing with fury and deadly precision, Little Rice held nothing back in his onslaught of swipes. In merely a few short seconds, the woman in green had fallen into a state of blood and disarray. Little Rice. Seeing the intervention of his friend, Bai Xiachen immediately broke out of the girl's embrace and toddled over to the baby tiger. How come you are here? He whispered with a tinge of surprise in his voice. Mistress is afraid of you causing trouble outside, that's why I was tasked to follow you. Like the boy, the tiger also lowered his voice into a whisper. Also, didn't mistress say you can't make a move outside? Otherwise you're ident. One tie will be discovered soon or later. Bai Xiachen can't be called a complete demon beast, only a half-human half-beast hybrid. However, the boy's ability and power was far stronger than any pure-bred demon beast out there, hence the reason why Bai Yan would forbid her son from revealing the secret. She's afraid evildoers would target the kid while she's not aware. Lowering his little head, Bai Xiachen sounded rather defeated. I was only trying to help my auntie. I didn't want her to be hit. Good thing Little Rice came, otherwise I would be exposed today. If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off adblock helps too. A business deal. 1. The fat bully was too stunned for words. Unable to do a thing, he can only watch the guards he brought along be knocked over to the ground one after the other. Noticing the gaze directed at himself from Wang Deqiu, father, the fat bully quickly lost all form of arrogance and began to stutter. My father is the crown prince. I don't care if your father is the prince or the king. If he can't teach you properly, then I will do their job for them. In one sweep of his feet, the enraged man makes a stomp right onto the boy's chest. These people really take me for a pushover. How dare they come into my home and hit my son? I will show them what it means to mess with me. Bursting out into tears, the fat bully starts sobbing with all his might. My father said I'm the most prestigious person in this world because the animals bowed before me when I was born. You hit me. My father will definitely feed you to the dogs for that. Sneering at the threat, Wang Deqiu's only reaction was a couple of slaps after dragging the kid up into the air. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation. Try crying again and I will toss you into the forest to feed the animals there. Shivering at the threat, the fat bully instantly ceased his sobbing. With a frightened face, Nangong Lin felt like he was facing a monster. What is master of the animals? You think I'd be dumb enough to be fooled? Go tame a demon beast for me to see then. Come on, go. These people are truly too ignorant. Merely one rumor and they are all heads over heels for it. Now scram, get out of my face. First tossing the fat bully out of his estate, Wang Deqiu then casts a warning glare at the sprawling soldiers pretending to be dead. In the face of that intense stare, these poor men could only scramble for the door with their lord in hand. At the very same time, Bai Yan was currently giving off a half-hearted smile as she watched the whole thing unfold with her body leaning against the doorway. Since her help was no longer needed here, she figured it's time she went home. Miss, suddenly, an addressing voice came from behind, causing her to stop in her footsteps. Is something the matter? Bai Yan asked. Miss, you are Bai Xiachen's mother, right? Despite his effort to show off a welcoming smile, it only came out as deceitful and conniving, like someone facing a piece of fat pork ready to be consumed. Unconsciously, Bai Yan found herself taking a step back like a frightened doll. You know me? Xiachen said it long ago that his mother is the most beautiful woman in the world. Since I saw you coming out from the next door, I took a guess and figured you must be her. Making a hearty laugh, Wang Deqiu swiftly snatched his son over without minding the chubby kid's own feeling. Come on, hurry and say hello. Like his father, Wang Xiaopeng's welcoming laugh somehow turned into a perverted chuckle. Beautiful auntie, I am very pleased to meet you. Following her brother's lead, Wang Xiaotong also chimed in to greet Bai Yan. "Hello beautiful auntie. She is Bai Shechen's mother. She really looks beautiful, the most beautiful person I've seen yet. I only came out to check on the commotion, nothing more. Since all of you are fine, I will be going back first." Her eyes were clearly softer at the sight of the children. "If you two have time, please come to my home and find my son. He really likes playing with you too." The chubby boy was glowing in his eyes. All this while, it had always been Bai Shechen coming over to their home and not the other way around. "Remember not to make trouble for your auntie there if you visit, understand?" Making a knock on his son's head, Wang Deqiu didn't forget to warn his son like a proper father would. "Bai Yan is here, too, meow." There were no delays in Little Rice's action after the boy's order came out. In a flash, those razor-sharp claws had already brushed across the green woman's face, thus wounding the other half to make it whole. "Ah!" she screamed and flew a punch at the baby cub in front of her. Sadly for the woman, her attack came out with nothing due to the tiger cub's dexterous speed. In a quick somersault, Little Rice had retreated back to a safe location in the hall, leaving the woman unable to get a good hold on him. Licking his bloodied paw, he mocks his victim with that provocative gaze. "I'm going to kill you." Bloodshot in her eyes, the woman in green didn't care anymore and wanted to rush over to exert her full might. But before she can do anything, a delicate arm had stretched over to stop her. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation. "Jade Shi, stop this." Dark in her expression, Mu Qing Song eyes the little white kitty with a newfound respect. "It seems I've underestimated you. I can see now you are no ordinary demon beast. Let me guess, your strength should be at least in the sky rank, am I correct?" Jade Shi's own power is at the lower level of the sky rank. If this little white kitty can hurt her without suffering any damage, then that can only mean he's also at the sky rank. Maybe even at the intermediate level. In a time like this, Mu Qing Song seems to have made another mistake. When she threw out that question, she was careless and missed that flash of contempt in the tiger cub's eye due to her diverted attention. Sky rank? Old Lord Lon and the others were all shocked by the statement. Watching the little white kitty on the ground that looked absolutely harmless, they only had this in mind: this greedy little glutton is a sky rank demon beast? "I forbid you from talking ill of Auntie Hualuo." The little steam bun's face was full of anger at the insult made here today. "Unlike the hypocritical people like you two, she's way better." This time Mu Qing Song was rather calm in her response. Not saying a word, she only frowned upon the little kid with a constant glimmer of light emulating out of her eyes. "Mother." Just as the mood in the air was falling into a stranglehold, Bai Shechen's delighted voice suddenly shattered it with this call. Turning around like a reflex reaction, Mu Qing Song finally saw it, finally saw Bai Yan's appearance for the first time ever. In that instant, even her breathing had come to a halt. Glorious in her coat of red, the woman coming in was so stunning that even the world would pale in comparison. This was Bai Yan, the very same one who was held in contempt just moments ago by these intruders. Prior to this meeting, Mu Qing Song had great confidence in her own appearance. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been so arrogant to think Di Tsang would abandon this woman for herself. But now, she too understands why that man in her dreams would choose her. From the initial astonishment, her thoughts soon turned into jealousy and envy. "I don't even need to guess, it's because of that face. That's why Di Tsang would take her. Perhaps they've already had skinship and such." Just thinking about the possibility of this woman roughing around in bed with her man, Mu Qing Song's heart would instantly tense up. "So you are Bai Yan," she gently exhaled to recompose herself. "Grandfather, grandmother, what happened?" Bai Yan didn't stop for the intruder in front. Instead, she directly stepped over to her family's side to inquire about the situation. Exhaling a sigh of relief, old Lord Lon finally felt at ease at his granddaughter's arrival. "How come you came alone? Just now I had your aunt go seek Lord Song for help. Why didn't he come with you?" Bai Yan frowned. "I didn't see her on the way here, but whether or not Di Tsang comes or not, the ending will be the same." "Cousin." Dashing over at the sight of her cousin, Lan Xiaoyun nearly broke out into tears because she was so afraid just now. If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off ad block helps too. Youngster Wenru, 1. When the time comes, he too will have the capital to make demands. Brat, you have to study these business tricks well. Even if you can't inherit the main family's fortune, you must at least be able to fend for yourself and not be butchered to death. Wang Deqiu really wanted to smack his son again for being so lazy. If this kid could be even half as good as Xiachen, then I won't have to worry so much. I got it, the chubby gives a perfunctory nod. Next second, Wang Xiaopeng had already dashed away for the door because he knew what his old man was planning to do next. Furthermore, this naughty kid didn't forget to stick his tongue out as his own form of retaliation. Grimacing at the brat's demeanor, Wang Deqiu starts giving his son the chase. "You stinking brat, watch how I will beat your butt silly this time." Back over at the old manor, Bai Yan was busy sipping away at her tea while waiting for her subordinate to arrive. This translation is only hosted on Translation. Mistress, is there something you need by calling for me? Hua Luo, head of the flower brothel, makes a partial kneel after entering the main reception hall. I made a business deal with the Wang family from next door. Have Lady Chu go negotiate the terms with them. Yes, mistress, the enchanting woman respectfully complied. Oh yes, I wanted to ask you for a while now, how are the training for those alchemists going? Lowering her teacup, Bai Yan softly asked. In this world, strength was most certainly important, but that's not all there was to it. Alchemists are also important in a different way. The powerful undoubtedly can take whatever they want with their sheer strength, but alchemists have their own means to get what they want. Even without a high level of cultivation, they can turn to other powerful individuals to ask for help if needed. That's why, starting from 3 years ago, Bai Yan had secretly gathered a group of alchemists for her own use. Just that due to her own busy lifestyle, she never once checked on their progress. Mistress, the alchemists we brought in have all made great improvements, with every single one of them reaching at least 2nd rank. For those more talented, we now got 30 at the 3rd level and 9 at the 4th level. Then what about the 5th level? She asked with a frown. This, except for Wenru, no one else was able to achieve such results. Wenru was a person Bai Yan met along her journey 3 years ago. At the time the youngster was still arrogant and rude, therefore, the two quickly got into a conflict after they became interested in the same treasure. If martialists like to settle their scores by having a fighting match, it's only proper the alchemist profession would compete with their skills in alchemy. And that's precisely what the two did. After losing, Wenru had since sworn allegiance to Bai Yan. No one being able to break into the 5th level is within my expectations, but the number of 4th ranks are too low. How can there be only 9 people when we conscripted over 200 talented genius back then? Bai Yan's expression clearly didn't look so good as she slowly got up from her chair. Nervous in her tone, Hua Luo knew her next words will only make the woman even unhappier. Nevertheless, she says it anyway out of loyalty. Of the 9 people, 5 of them were already at the 3rd level, in other words, 3 years of effort yielded nothing more than a 1-level increase. Hua Luo, bring me to see those alchemists. I want to check for myself why this is happening. This certainly cannot go on. I must think of some way to help these people advance further as soon as possible. Inside the courtyard that's almost perennially covered in a smoky mist due to the constant use of the stoves, a large group of hard-working men were busy concocting their respective Dan pills with their cauldrons. Ah! A loud screaming cry suddenly broke the tranquility here. The reasoning for this was Bai Yan's unmerciful kick at the figure who attempted to charge her at the first moment she stepped through the doorway. Sprawled there with his arms and legs on the ground, the handsome boy known as Wenru puts on a pathetic look of grievance at his attacker. How come I can't see through your cultivation anymore? Don't tell me, you made another breakthrough again? Aside from the alchemic contest they did 3 years ago, they also competed in their cultivation. The end result, a very miserable defeat that left him admitting defeat both physically and spiritually. Even so, he could still perceive the girl's cultivation. But now, he couldn't, like the woman was shrouded in a thick layer of mist. Bai Yan is here, perhaps it was due to her running the entire way, but the woman was panting for air as soon as she started to slow down. Sang, where is Lord Sang? Dong Rulan wanted to get closer to make her voice clearer. Sadly, her legs simply won't budge anymore due to how fatigued they were. The overseeing guard became startled. Hesitant in his tone, His Highness is currently away due to an urgent matter. I don't know where he is either. Madame Lan, why don't you try Miss Bai Yan's place? The Lord have been living there for the past few days. Bitter in her smile, Dong Rulan shook her head rapidly. I just came from that side. Is there a way you can contact Lord Song? That woman is obviously coming with ill intent. I must find Lord Song to help. Please wait, Madame Lan, I will pass the message to my lord immediately. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation. Seeing how anxious the woman was in her demeanor, the guard knew it must be urgent. Without hesitating, he immediately pulled out a flare container and ignited the bottom. Next second, a radiant glow of piercing red had illuminated the sky. Inside the dense forest outside the capital city, 2 men was currently standing there unmoved. The one in front would of course be Di Tsang, while the other standing behind him was the man that had transformed into the flaming bird from before. My king, I've only managed to trace the princesses sent to this place. After that I can no longer follow the trail. Then did you manage to locate that woman from the snake tribe? His voice was gloomy, frightening the man behind even more. Subordinate is useless, I still haven't located her yet. As soon as his words came forward, the one known as Fire Plume can clearly feel his lord's aura growing more and more intense to the point where he had trouble breathing. Continuing like this for well over a minute, the oppression finally dispersed. Continue to investigate. Yes, King. He can finally exhale a sigh of relief. Because of how frightening his king's aura was, he estimates only the future queen would have the ability to tame that tyrannical power. Then without indication, Di Tsang's aura suddenly grew heavier again. The message flare I left behind has been detonated. A messenger flare have a lot of uses. The main one was to inform the original owner of danger by igniting it and releasing the infused spiritual energy stored inside. This would alarm the creator no matter where they are so long as a barrier wasn't in place. However, he also mentioned to his men that only matters related to Bai Yan would they be allowed to ignite the flare. If it was any other ordinary matters, it was of no concern. King, is it the queen? Fire Plume raised his head as a flash of sympathy flowed out of his eyes. Someone else is going to be screwed again. You continue to search for her whereabouts. Dropping this order down, Di Tsang's silvery and purplish figure was gone from view, leaving behind the still somewhat nervous man in the background. Finally, after a good minute of this awkward silence, the one known as Fire Plume also started to leave. Transforming from his human appearance, the person turns into a huge flaming bird that radiated searing heat to all of its surroundings. Not quite a true phoenix, only a descendant with a stronger bloodline than usual. At this very moment back over at the lawn house, Bai Yan was facing off again Mu Qing Song with that peerless smile of hers. Since you have already decided, then I won't waste my words. Why don't you state why you are here instead? Mu Qing Song was practically seething with frost in her words. I had only wanted to test you today. The loser was only to leave Di Tsang forever, but after witnessing what you've done to my people, I can't exactly let it end so easily anymore. Crossing her arms under her B-R-E-A-S-T-S, Bai Yan's smile grew even bigger. With you only? Talk about arrogant to the extreme. This naturally left Mu Qing Song extremely displeased in her expression. If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off adblock helps too. Spoiling her. 2 years earlier I have already heard of Hualuo recognizing a new master. Just that I never managed to learn who it was. Snickering a sneer, Mu Qing Song was no longer holding back her contempt. To think it would be you. And I know that you are also an alchemist. I'm not surprised S.L.U.T. like that would recognize you for some measly Dan pill, but don't think for a second that you can go up against me just because you have her behind your back. Despite her indifferent attitude, that arrogant tone cannot be hidden like she's watching a person that's already dead. Have I ever said I need to rely on Hualuo's power? Bai Yan's brilliant smile was like a thorn, piercing straight in her foe's heart and bleeding it. Nothing but a bead of insignificant rice. How dare you compare yourself to the radiant sun and moon? Bai Yan, I will let you understand where you stand in this world. Prepare yourself. Without another word, Mu Qingsong had unsheathed her sword to take aim at Bai Yan's throat. I've gave you the opportunity, it's you who didn't cherish it. This translation is only hosted on Translation. Dancing with precision and finesse, her whole figure had practically transformed into the sword as it grazed against the wind, raising an ear-piercing cry in the process. O.C.R.P. It's over. Just as old Lord Lan and the rest were panicking due to the tense situation, Bai Shuchen suddenly throws a bomb into the fire by issuing this sentence. Perhaps it's due to the boy's careless comment, but old Madame Lan was clearly very shaken by it. Unable to hold her posture, the poor grandmother starts falling backwards with her trembling hand reaching out as if she's trying to stop the fight. Quickly, someone go save my precious granddaughter. Good thing old Lord Lan was fast in his reaction. Catching his wife, he hurriedly turns to the stupefied Lan Xiaoyan nearby. Quickly girl, come hold your grandmother while I go help your cousin. Okay. Controlling herself after realizing how dumb she was acting, Lan Xiaoyan literally pounced over to receive her grandmother. Biting her lips, she can see Bai Yan was already hard at battle with Mu Qingsong. However good their intents were, the group appears to have misunderstood the little boy's meaning. Great-grandfather, what are you doing? Bai Shuchen toddled over and asked. Of course it's to help your mother. No one can kill my granddaughter in my own turf. Clenching his fist until the veins were popping, old Lord Lan didn't look down as he continued to step forward for the impending battle. Blinking innocently at the reply, Bai Shuchen appears to be struggling in his face. But my mother doesn't like it when someone interferes with her fighting. Slowing down but not stopping, old Lord Lan was firm in his expression. Even you said your mother is done for, how can I just sit and watch? I don't care what rules she has for when she's fighting, I only know I can't stand by and watch while she gets killed in front of my eyes. As soon as his remark came forward, Bai Shuchen immediately showed a flash of surprise on his cute little face. But I wasn't talking about mother, I was referring to that bad woman. Jerking to a halt, only now does the old grandfather started to pay closer attention to the fighting in front. Boom! Following this explosive noise, Bai Yan's dexterous finger had clipped onto Mu Qingsong's sword. With a tiny flex of her powers, she brutishly infused her own energy into the enemy's weapon and shattered it into pieces. Stunned by the abrupt change in their stance, Mu Qingsong had trouble believing her eyes. The sword was forged by the best yuan iron out there. When did it become so useless? If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off ad block helps too. Little Bully wants to tame a beast, too, mother. They say the one who is worshipped by the animals must have the ability to tame the creatures. I want to tame this wolf to prove I am the most powerful person in the world. Hearing the aggrieved tone in her son, Bai Ruo's voice promptly turned sharp. Who is it that told you these things? It's Bai Shuchen's little friend's parent. However, before the fat kid could finish the ending part of his sentence, the woman had already assumed it's that rascal Bai Shuchen's fault. Huffing with clear anger in her rapid breathing, it took a rather long time before Bai Ruo could return her gentle gaze back down to the child in her arms. Son, you must always remember that you are the most prestigious person in the world. That Bai Shuchen is only jealous of your status, that's why he's trying to manipulate you and confuse you. Despite the comforting words, the fat bully only looked up with his teary eyes. Then why did that wolf not listen to me? This translation is only hosted on Translation. That's an ordinary wolf without any form of intellect. How can it possibly recognize you? Moreover, such a lowly existence isn't qualified to surrender to you. Remember, you are destined to control the world's demon beast. Only real demon beasts can understand how great your identity is. But Bai Shuchen can order a lot of foxes at will. Nothing but. Bai Ruo instantly cuts the boy off, her expression serious. Son, whether it be Nangong Zhuan or Bai Shuchen, all of them must live under the control of your will in the future. If you find the opportunity, you must end them in the most miserable way, understand? Who the hell is Bai Shuchen? How dare he compare himself to my son? He's not even qualified to wash my son's feet. I understand, mother. From the depressed and sulky attitude, The fat bully was now invigorated with a renewed enthusiasm. I will never let that Bai Xiachen and Nangong Zhuan get away with what they've done to me. Also, mother, I saw a little girl today. Can I make her my bed-warming maid? How dare that chubby kid beat me? Then I will snatch his sister over to warm my bed. That's fine, Bai Ruo laughed. This world will eventually be yours, so that girl should be thankful for your generosity. Tell me which household it is. I will have someone go over there and buy the girl for you. Going bright in his weasel eye, the fat bully was brimming with energy. Mother, it's not just the little girl, I also want her brother to become my slave. Okay, everything will be as you wish. In this city, there's only Di Tsang who I wouldn't dare trifle with. Aside from that, who else would dare go against royal authority? Besides, isn't it just a little girl? If things don't go through, all I have to do is bring out a few Dan pills. By then I like to see the other party still refuse the request. It was at this moment a palace maid came running over. Crown Princess, someone is requesting an audience. Slightly wrinkling her brow, Bai Ruo asked, who is it? The person said they are from the Music Valley. Music Valley? Evoking a sinister smirk, finally, they are here. Quick, invite them into the reception hall. I will arrive in a moment. Yes, Crown Princess, making a respectful bow, the maid quickly disappears from Bai Ruo's view. First making sure her son was well taken care of by the maids, Bai Ruo then headed for the main hall herself. But due to the injury on her hind, the speed that she moved at was awfully slow despite being supported by several servants. Back over at the reception hall, a female character donning a gorgeous blue dress was already sitting in wait by the time Bai Ruo arrived at the scene. Aside from those mountainous things in the front, everything about this person radiated a stunning presence. This was especially true with that face because that milky complexion looked like it could literally be milked if squeezed. Chapter 219, Spoiling Her. 3. Mu Qingsong's expression was getting whiter and white. At least we won't lower ourselves to using our bodies to service another man. The Music Valley and Flower Brothel are often compared together because of their large number of female members in their mix. While the Music Valley would always be praised for their clean reputation, the Flower Brothel would usually be detested as an organization for the dirty and unwanted. You say you won't lower yourself to servicing a man, eh? We will see how much of that claim is true then. How about this? I will abolish your cultivation and have you take customers at the Flower Brothel. This way you can experience it firsthand. A touch of laughter was emulating out of Bai Yan's eye. This Mu Qing song is so beautiful, coupled with her ident. 1. Tai as the mistress of the Music Valley, using her to pick up customers will surely make a fortune. No. Staggering backwards, Mu Qing song's expression became even paler till all color had left her face. Are you not afraid of Di Tsang finding out? If he sees your true face, he will surely cast you aside. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation right after her words came out. A cool and drafty voice blew in, causing Bai Yan's face to go dark. What can I know? Shuddering at the question, Mu Qing Song promptly turned around to seek that surreal figure. Magnificent to the point where she can almost feel her lungs suffocating, it was only a few months ago that this man made her sick with love. With her heart pounding until it hurts, she wanted oh so much to fall into those arms to gain some warmth. But instead of pulling her in like she wanted, Di Tsang had completely said her, never once casting so much as a glance her way. Who is it this time that made you angry? Soft and tender, Di Tsang teasingly asks with that seductive voice. Tossing the guqin aside like it's a piece of garbage, Bai Yan on the other hand wasn't so friendly. Grabbing that collar, her smile was both threatening and dangerous. Your rotten love admirers are here again. If not for me making it in time, the lawn house would have fallen in danger because of you. I warn you, if anything happens to my family, I will never let you go. Casting a glance at the collar being grabbed by his woman, Di Tsang was rather pleased instead of getting upset. And how do you want to not let me go? In bed? Or we can try something more exciting like in the air or water instead. Di Tsang. Seriously, why does this man always revolve around getting me in bed with him? Arg, does all he think about is trying to slip into my body? First easing the incredible amount of stuffiness in her chest, Bai Yan then went back to dealing with this man. I will run away with your son and not let you find us. Old Lord Lan and the rest had only recovered from their initial scare, now to be cast in front of Di Tsang's ever-growing torrent of gloominess. They desperately needed a break lest they lose their minds. Hurrying to signal Bai Yan with a wink, old Lord Lan was practically pleading his granddaughter with his look. Child, I think this matter is not Lord Tsang's fault. He seems very sincere about you, so you mustn't get upset. Silent and unyielding, Bai Yan only faced the man in front of her like she's trying to see through that person to see the truth. Bai Yan, you are spoiled with arrogance. Sneering, Mu Qing Song also sensed the anger in Di Tsang's body. You don't even know how to cherish your man. If it was me, I would never make him angry. Boom. Before the foolish woman can continue on with her rambling, a raging torrent had swept out from Di Tsang's sleeve, pounding in against his target and sending the yapper mouth flying out of the hall. Chapter 220, Spoiling Her. 4. Di Tsang, you, raising her ashen face to confront that overbearing man, not a word could come forward anymore. The Music Valley no longer exists from this day forward. With only that order, the fate of the Music Valley was sealed. Puking another mouthful of blood, her horrified face only had shock left in there. Why? You still asking me why? My wife nearly ran away with my child because of you. The dreaded frost from his smile only added to his charm for some reason. Shuddering at the man's remark, Mu Qing Song struggled to upright herself from the ground. You are that certain the child is yours? Did you test your blood with his? As if I wouldn't be able to recognize my own son. Do you take me for an idiot, or are you that much of an idiot yourself? The murderous intent was now in full bloom around Di Tsang's figure. This translation is only hosted on Ka-Translation in this moment. Mu Qing Song didn't care about her own physical pain, nor did she care what the others thought of her. All she knows was that her heart was hurting like it's being crushed until it's nothing but a pile of mush. Don't you realize that she's a vicious woman? The flower brothel is a place of womanizing, yet she still wants to cripple me and send me there. Such a woman is qualified to be your wife? No matter how vicious she is, I am here to protect her. Furthermore, clicking his tongue, Di Tsang didn't hide his contempt for the woman. I'm rather fond of Yan Yan's idea. I agree, let's send you to the flower brothel to take customers. That should be adequate for making my wife angry. Shuddering at the statement, the helpless woman could hardly believe her own ears. What did you say? He wants to send me to the flower brothel? How can he be so cruel to me? PFF. Following a piercing white light that shot straight into Mu Qing Song's body, her dantian finally shattered into a million pieces. I never thought the man that I'd been searching after so long would be this heartless to me. She's not wrong to pursue love. What she did wrong was to pursue her love on Di Tsang, someone she never should have eyed for in the first place. But then, just the thought of Bai Yan being protected so tightly by that man, an unbridled fury would erupt out of her heart. Send her to the flower brothel. Cold and indifferent, Di Tsang gives the command for the guards to come out of hiding. Yes, Your Highness. Respectful in their tones, the men worked quickly and dragged the now crippled woman away. Without bothering to give Mu Qing Song another glance, Di Tsang turns back to Bai Yan, who was still very upset with him. Do you need something else? She retreats as the man got closer, creating an awkward scene almost akin to a cat and mouse game. Going gloomy again at the reaction of the girl, he questions her, do you really intend to take my son away with you? I was just kidding. But I don't like that sort of joke. Disregarding the focused gaze from everyone around them, Di Tsang forcefully pushes her against the nearby tree and takes a hearty bite of her lip. If there's a next time, I will directly take you to my bed with no mercy shown. Bai Yan's face had gone completely black. Can you control yourself? People are watching. So you know how to be scared too. Let's see how you will threaten me again in the future. With his eyes narrowed into an evil slit, he didn't forget to take advantage of the situation to get some more skinship. Ahumph. Making a Imbara. Said cough to bring the two back to reality. Old Lord Lan hurries to wink at the dumbfounded Lan Xiaoyan. What are you still dazing around for? Your grandmother suffered quite the scare there. Hurry and go help her inside so she can rest. I still need to go look for my old friend to drink tea. Indeed, old Madame Lan did receive quite the scare today, but it wasn't all from Mu Qing Song. Bai Yan and Di Tsang's intimate act here also had a hand in it. Spoiling her. 5. First was the fact that her precious granddaughter was able to demonstrate a power at the monarch level. It must be mentioned that their Luhua kingdom only has a king-rank master as its strongest protector. So, for the girl to reach a level superior to that in a few short years, how can she not be frightened with shock? Then behold, before her heart could come to terms with the explosive news, Di Tsang's tyrannical aura takes another whack at her already dissipating soul. All in all, old Madame Lan can be said to have received over 4 major blows to her frail heart. First was Mu Qing Song barging into their home and revealing her ident. 1. Tai. Second was Bai Yan showcasing her extraordinary powers. Then thirdly was Di Tsang's near suffocating aura of oppressive might. Now, last but not least, she's watching her granddaughter getting so intimate with a man in front of her eyes. If that's not enough to make the old grandmother go limp in her legs, then what else can she do? This translation is only hosted on Translation. I will be away for a few days. Di Tsang didn't pay any heed to the departing members of the Lan family. Using an almost growling voice, if you need something, have my people inform me. Taken aback by the news, Bai Yan subconsciously asked, when will you return? Only after saying this did she regret her own folly. What am I talking about? Why would I care about when he's coming back like a little wife? Seeing the Imbara said look on the woman, Di Tsang's lip quickly curved into a smirk. I need to find a person. If I don't find her, I speculate she would be sold as a slave and still help her slaver count the money. Bai Yan did not say anything, but the thin line making up her tightened lips easily gave away her true feelings. You are not going to ask me who that person is? His voice getting deeper like he demands it. And what does that have to do with me? Bai Yan hurriedly swings her head around, obviously disgruntled by the fact. Acting as if he didn't hear that, Di Tsang continues without her permission, I'm going to look for Xiaoqin's little auntie. Xiaoqin's little auntie? Then that means the girl is his sister? Startled by the information, Bai Yan swiftly comes back around and asked with sincerity, do you need my help to look? No need, maybe it's due to her increased interest. Di Tsang's mood was very pleased by it. I have my ways to locate her. Alerted by their conversation, Bai Xiaoqin quickly toddled over to ask with his big innocent eyes, is it true that I got a new auntie? Will she like me like uncle does? She wouldn't dare. Di Tsang sounded very confident in his statement, if she dares to not like you, I will rope her up and start hitting her hind while she dangles there. Not far away inside a certain valley, a young maiden was currently having a huge sneezing fit. Rubbing her nose, she got the aching suspicion that someone was talking behind her back. It's all state teacher's fault for not telling me where my brother is. Now I got to go around looking for them, puffing up her cheeks. That pinkish hue was truly adorable. I wonder if my brother has managed to woo my sister-in-law over yet. The more the young maiden thought about it, the grumpier the girl became. Using the stick she found, she begins stabbing the poor fishies in the pond to vent her steam while imagining the state teacher's handsome face. Inside the courtyard of the Lan family's estate, Di Tsang was in the middle of giving Bai Yan a tender kiss while embracing the woman of his life. I will be back soon, so be good while I'm away. Having said this, he finally released the woman and gave his son a quick scruffle on the head before taking his leave. Mother, did you really want to leave with me just now? Watching the departing back of his father, Bai Xiaoqin innocently asked his mother here. Going stiff in the body, Bai Yan could only exhale a sigh. This isn't your father's fault, he's also innocent, so I never blamed him for it. Then why did you say that then? Scratching his cute little head, Bai Xiaoqin became perplexed by the contradiction. Truth is, I only wanted to see what sort of attitude he would make. Then how did Batty father do? Naive in his gaze, Bai Xiaoqin had placed his mother on the spotlight by doing this. He did quite well, her smile genuinely happy. If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off ad block helps too. Will you like him in the future? He did quite well. Tilting his cute little head in puzzlement, Bai Xiachen looks up with those bright starry eyes of his. Mother, have you accepted baddie father then? No, I did not. She refutes it with a shake of her head. Then will you like him in the future? I don't know. Bai Yan went quiet for a moment. Slowly raising her stunning head to face that crystal blue sky, a faint smile escapes her. How can I predict what I don't know? Come son, let us go back home. This translation is only hosted on Translation, okay? He happily nods and ran into his mother's embrace. However, the pair only managed to take a few steps out of the estate before Bai Xiachen recalled he was here to bring Auntie Xiaoyun over to choose a fox. Wrinkling his baby face, he was practically moping in his voice. Mother, I need to make a second run back inside. Leaving only this behind, Bai Xiachen struggled free from his mother's arms and ran inside without turning his head even once. It's widely recognized that the Music Valley was on equal standing to the flower brothel, and in some cases, their reputation supersedes their counterpart. Yet, in a single night, news of the Music Valley's destruction came sweeping over like a storm, catching Bai Ruo completely off guard today. How could this be? Due to the sudden act of climbing up from her bed, the wound on her body became torn again. Gasping at the sharp pain, Lu Yu, is this news reliable? The palace maid called Lu Yu respectfully replied, Crown Princess, this matter is absolutely true. Everyone in the entire kingdom now knows about it. Even that former mistress of the Music Valley now belongs to the flower brothel and is currently up for grabs for those willing to pay. Because of this reason, countless high-standing lords are rushing over there just to catch a glimpse of the lady. Going pale in her complexion, Bai Ruo closed her eyes as her hands clenched into a tight ball. I understand, you can leave me now. Yes, Crown Princess. Giving a slight bow, the maid retreats in an orderly fashion. With only her alone now, Bai Ruo had fallen into a daze-like state for a very long time. Perhaps it's due to the shockingness of the news, even she was unwilling to believe it. How can Bai Yan have that kind of courage? Is she not afraid of Di Tsang's fury? Does she think she can do whatever she wants just because she's in favor? Her pondering mind was all over the place during this period. But once she's come to terms with what's going on in her crooked mind, a freaky smile could be seen on that grotesque face. Someone come, prepare the sedan for me. I'm heading out. I must verify the news myself. The Bai house may have fallen into decay, but Bai Ruo was still the crown princess of the kingdom. Therefore, whenever her sedan moved across the streets, the civilians would consciously move aside to make room for her. Before long, she has arrived at her destination. Once inside the establishment after much difficulty, she can see clearly now through the rampant crowd of guests that a stunning woman was tied to a pillar. Obviously the lady had lost her initial air of death. In its place, only regret and a constant glimmer of deep pain could be found in those eyes. One glance, that's all it took for Bai Ruo to collapse. Crown Princess. The palace maid hurries to support her mistress after seeing that incessant shiver. Bai Yan sure have guts. But why isn't Di Tsang coming out yet when she's made such a big commotion? If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off ad block helps too. Bai Ruo's jealousy, grabbing the maid's supporting hand with her own, Bai Ruo's voice was trembling with unease as she asked. However, before she could get a proper answer, the rowdy voices of the crowd had answered her question. This supposed mistress of the Music Valley sure is beautiful, to think she would also be a cheap bitch like all the rest. No matter, I will still be willing to buy her first time just for that outstanding appearance alone. Oh, why would you say that? You don't know yet? Mu Qingsong fancied Lord Song, but because she was rejected, the woman instead turned her fury at the lawn house. That's how she became like this, she angered Lord Song. Pausing for a moment to look around, the man speaking here then issued a SN. 1 ring laugh, and as it so happens, I was here when Lord Song's men threw her into the flower brothel. Even the destruction of the Music Valley was done at the order of the sovereign prince. It seems this Lord Song really is loyal and faithful. For that Bai Yan, he's willing to reject even a fine trophy like this Mu Qing Song. This translation is only hosted on Translation. Che, you can't say it like that. Sure, this Mu Qing song is indeed beautiful, but compared to Bai Yan, there's still a gap. If I were the one to choose, I would of course take Bai Yan over this cheap woman. Nevertheless, I'm still willing to use her as my mistress. Bai Ruo's body was ready to collapse at this point. Fortunately, the maid behind her managed to support that crumbling body in time. Crown Princess, the voice sounded very concerned. I am fine, we will go back. First closing her eyes, Bai Ruo eventually reopened them again after coming to terms with the reality. Just that, those shaking legs cannot hide the horror coursing through her veins. My husband loves me so much, yet he still has a few concubines. Besides, as long as they are male, they will be more inclined to be good to a beauty. So why would Ditsang ignore such a temptation for Bai Yan? How can such a man be Bai Yan's? Perhaps it's due to the woman's wish to ease her mood. Bai Ruo didn't ride her sedan. Instead, she walked aimlessly through the streets for the palace. Just that, due to her divided attention, she had unintentionally ped into a sing girl while wandering. Boom! It's unsure why the young maiden was so strong, but Bai Ruo felt like she was ting into a wall instead of a person. Stumbling backwards, she immediately took to the ground and ripped open her wounds again. Crown Princess. Alarmed by the fall, the palace maid as well as the escorting soldiers were quick to react. While the maid took to helping her mistress, the guards quickly surrounded the maiden. How dare you, this is Her Royal Highness the Crown Princess that you ped into. Di Xiaowan, Di Tsang's sister, originally wanted to say sorry after colliding with someone, but after the abrupt scolding from the guards, her proud nature instantly flared up. She didn't look where she was going, so how can she blame anyone? She snorts, knocking her head high. Impudent. The complexion of the guards were getting uglier by the second. Just as they were ready to make a move, Bai Ruo's hollering voice stopped them. Hold it. Slowly climbing up from the ground, Bai Ruo's beautiful eyes were clearly focused on the badge token tied to the girl's waist. That badge looks very nice, mind showing me? What? Di Xiaowan immediately head up her precious item like a protective hen. If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off ad block helps too. Where's my brother? A rippling smile appears out of Bai Ruo's mouth. Please don't misunderstand, I'm only asking because I happened to see it somewhere before. She did happen to see it. A peerless man like Di Tsang cannot be resisted by any woman, including those who are married like herself. As such, during the first few years of the man's arrival in this kingdom, she would often accidentally appear in places where Di Tsang would be, pretending to be a Serbi while sneaking a few glances here and there. That's when she noticed this token with the letter Yao, demon, on it. To think I would see it again on a young girl like this. The young maiden grew excited. You've seen this token? Where? Where is he? Smiling deeply again, Bai Ruo knew she's had the girl. I'm a friend. May I know your relationship with him? This translation is only hosted on Translation, friend? Impossible, my older brother hates women the most. Of course, aside from my sister-in-law, that is. Just thinking of how she will soon meet her sister-in-law and cuddly little nephew, Di Xiaowan would smile from within her hearts. Even if a man hates the female sex, there's bound to be some special existences eventually, is it not so? Bai Ruo continues to sway the young girl in her way. Shaking her head, Di Xiaowan refutes it completely. There's been no shortages of the female sex trying to woo my brother, but never once had he gotten close to any of them, let alone become friends. To what extent does that phobia applies to? It's to the point where Di Tsang wouldn't allow even a single person to draw within 100 meters of his own existence. Nowadays, not a single woman, in some cases the male side too, wouldn't dare to get close to Di Tsang back in the demon realm. What I said is true, Bai Ruo's expression was starting to change for the worse. Nevertheless, she continues to force a smile using that soft tone of hers, and, I can bring you to him. Biting her fingernail, Di Xiaowan appears to be struggling at the idea, but when I left home, state teacher specifically told me not to follow anyone I don't know, or else. Why don't I give you my address and you can have him come find me instead? If I went with this woman, state teacher would certainly be very angry with me. Seeing how insufferably hard it was to convince this wretch, Bai Ruo herself too was starting to get impatient. If it was any other time, she would have slapped the girl on the spot by now if not for Ditsang's connection. Suddenly, she noticed a familiar figure coming from the front. Hurrying to call out, she didn't mind the fact that her voice sounded a tad sharp there, Ji. Ever since that incident inside the palace with the rod punishment occurred, Bai Ji haven't been able to make contact with her elder sister. Therefore, tears immediately came flowing out as soon as she did so. Sister. Bai Yan is too hateful. Not only did she cripple father, she's also framing mother of cheating behind the scenes. Nowadays, father would constantly beat her like it's true. What should I do? What is even more odious is the fact that Ditsang would defend that Bai Yan still. I don't get what she gave him to cause such a reaction. What? Bai Ruo's complexion had gone white. Father is actually hitting mother? I will return home in 2 days with my husband. Only after wiping some of her tears did Bai Ji turn towards the beautifully pleasant girl behind the group. Sister, who is this woman? Turning sharp as soon as she heard the question, Bai Ruo was clearly up to no good. She is Ditsang's sister. I promised to take her to her brother. As it so happens, I'm currently busy, so I will hand the job over to you. If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off adblock helps too. Bai Yan is here. 3. Mother, just now this woman wanted to hit me. Hit my son? Bai Yan's face was dreadfully dark. Now I like to see who got the nerve to make a move against my son. Oh, yes, Lan Xiaoyun adds in another part, this woman is also here because of your man. Likely she got rejected and is here to vent her steam by making trouble. Another one of Ditsang's love debt? Bai Yan's lip gently curved into a smirk. Landing her sight on the woman, she starts speaking in an interrogatory manner. Which hand of yours did you use? Not her, it's that maid beside her who wanted to slap little Xiachen. Finding this reliable reinforcement here, Lan Xiaoyun immediately changed from her timid appearance to a roaring lioness. She used her right hand. This translation is only hosted on Translation going cold in her face. Mu Qing Song had wanted to lecture the pest when a flash of gleaming light stopped her. It was Bai Yan who was moving so fast that none could perceive her movement. By the time the rude woman recovered from her startling discovery, it was already too late. Ah! Following an ear-deafening scream made the woman in green, a fountain of blood was already gushing out from that horrific stump of flesh. On the ground, the decapitated hand was still twitching there after being sliced off in one clean motion. You should be glad that you didn't use both hands, or else, your other arm will also be crippled. Because of how abrupt her attack was, none in the room could react in time. Therefore, even the little steam bun was able to witness everything in close proximity, which greatly worried Lan Xiaoyun, who attempted to block his eyes afterwards. Oh, auntie, you don't need to worry about me. When me and mother was wandering outside, I saw firsthand of a person being devoured by a demon beast alive. This is nothing for me. Before being taken into the Holy Land by the 3 elders, Bai Xiachen was only a couple of months old. Yet, he was able to remember everything at that age where he's considered to be a fresh-born. Upon hearing this explanation, Lan Xiaoyun was both sad and pained inside, causing the girl to nearly break out into tears. How can those people from the Bai house force such a good child and her mother to wander out there alone for so long? How dare you! Mu Qing Song was flushed with anger. Bai Yan, do you know what you are doing? If Di Dang were to learn of your true character, do you think he will forgive you? In response, Bai Yan only sneered at the accusation. Forgive me? What does him forgiving me have to do with this? In fact, it should be me deciding on whether or not I should forgive him. She has her own pride and dignity, and her dignity was to never yield under a man. You're just saying that in the heat of the moment. The woman shows a sardonic smile. You spent so much time seducing him, so how can you not care about his opinion? Why don't you just admit it? You are afraid of losing him. Bai Yan became paralyzed. I spend a lot of time seducing him. Ditsang. And I'm afraid of losing that man? Why don't I know any of this? At the very same time over at the burnt ruins of the Tsang Manor, a certain guard clad in full armor was vigilantly overseeing the reconstruction work of the estate. There were workers, craftsmen, and heavy laborers, all working in tandem at breakneck snailish speed. Slower, your actions are too fast, still, so slow down. This is the command of His Highness. Don't blame me for not warning you lot. If you anger our lord, you can forget about staying in the kingdom. Then just after the person finished his words, a beautifully dressed woman came rushing over to interrupt his work. Bai Yan is here, perhaps it was due to her running the entire way, but the woman was panting for air as soon as she started to slow down. Tsang. Where is Lord Tsang? Dong Rulan wanted to get closer to make her voice clearer. Sadly, her legs simply won't budge anymore due to how fatigued they were. The overseeing guard became startled. Hesitant in his tone, His Highness is currently away due to an urgent matter. I don't know where he is either. Madam Lan, why don't you try Miss Bai Yan's place? The Lord have been living there for the past few days. Bitter in her smile, Dong Rulan shook her head rapidly. I just came from that side. Is there a way you can contact Lord Tsang? That woman is obviously coming with ill intent. I must find Lord Tsang to help. Please wait, Madam Lan, I will pass the message to my lord immediately. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation. Seeing how anxious the woman was in her demeanor, the guard knew it must be urgent. Without hesitating, he immediately pulled out a flare container and ignited the bottom. Next second, a radiant glow of piercing red had illuminated the sky. Inside the dense forest outside the capital city, 2 men was currently standing there unmoved. The one in front would of course be Ditsang, while the other standing behind him was the man that had transformed into the flaming bird from before. My king, I've only managed to trace the princesses sent to this place. After that I can no longer follow the trail. Then did you manage to locate that woman from the snake tribe? His voice was gloomy, frightening the man behind even more. Subordinate is useless, I still haven't located her yet. As soon as his words came forward, the one known as Fire Plume can clearly feel his lord's aura growing more and more intense to the point where he had trouble breathing. Continuing like this for well over a minute, the oppression finally dispersed. Continue to investigate. Yes, King. He can finally exhale a sigh of relief. Because of how frightening his king's aura was, he estimates only the future queen would have the ability to tame that tyrannical power. Then without indication, Ditsang's aura suddenly grew heavier again. The message flare I left behind has been detonated. A messenger flare have a lot of uses. The main one was to inform the original owner of danger by igniting it and releasing the infused spiritual energy stored inside. This would alarm the creator no matter where they are so long as a barrier wasn't in place. However, he also mentioned to his men that only matters related to Bai Yan would they be allowed to ignite the flare. If it was any other ordinary matters, it was of no concern. King, is it the queen? Fire Plume raised his head as a flash of sympathy flowed out of his eyes. Someone else is going to be screwed again. You continue to search for her whereabouts. Dropping this order down, Ditsang's silvery and purplish figure was gone from view, leaving behind the still somewhat nervous man in the background. Finally, after a good minute of this awkward silence, the one known as Fire Plume also started to leave. Transforming from his human appearance, the person turns into a huge flaming bird that radiated searing heat to all of its surroundings. Not quite a true phoenix, only a descendant with a stronger bloodline than usual. At this very moment back over at the lawn house, Bai Yan was facing off again Mu Qing Song with that peerless smile of hers. Since you have already decided, then I won't waste my words. Why don't you state why you are here instead? Mu Qing Song was practically seething with frost in her words. I had only wanted to test you today. The loser was only to leave Ditsang forever, but after witnessing what you've done to my people, I can't exactly let it end so easily anymore. Crossing her arms under her breasts, Bai Yan's smile grew even bigger. With you only? Talk about arrogant to the extreme. This naturally left Mu Qing Song extremely displeased in her expression. Di Xiaowan vs Lan Xiaoyan, 1. if anyone were to be more stupefied here, it would have to be Chu Yi. I've just been robbed in the face. Just thinking of this point would cause her rosy face to flush with anger. What did you say? Little Xiachen is not your nephew. He can only be mine you hear? I don't want to be your sister anymore, call me auntie alright? This last part would of course be meant for Bai Xiachen. After stating this much, Chu Yi didn't forget to shoot a provocative stare at her opponent. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation now. It was Di Xiaowan to become mystified. When did my brother accept another sister? By now Bai Xiachen was already cherry red in his cheeks after suppressing himself all this time. Sister Yi is my but father's sister, not my baddie father's. Baddie father? This name is too suitable for him. Di Xiaowan couldn't resist another pinch at that squiggly face. Your face is exactly like my brother's when he was young, just that you are more sensible and more polite. Way better than he is at your age. In all seriousness, Di Xiaowan really had trouble believing this clever and adorable little child was his old brother's seed. Finding the girl willfully ignoring herself repeatedly, Chu Yi was ready to flare out at this point. But before then, she made sure to first snch the little guy over to her side for protection. Hey, what are you doing? Di Xiaowan shoots a glare at Chu Yi for stealing her darling of a nephew. Return my nephew to me. I'm not giving, what can you do? Chu Yi proudly makes a grunt to showcase her terrible might of being unreasonable. If based solely on appearance, Chu Yi and Di Xiaowan are not of the same type. The former being the charming young girl type while the latter was the sweet and beautiful. However, their temper are one and the same, the type to explode upon contact. As such, finding someone trying to steal her precious nephew away, Di Xiaowan's face was starting to show off a pang of true anger. You want to fight, is it? Come, which weapon would you like to use? Or do you want to go bare-handed? I will even let you have the first strike. Sensing the dangerous aura oozing out of the pair, the innocent bystanders were very conscious in relocating themselves to a safer location, thus leaving a wide-open SPCE for their brawl. Now Bai Xiachen had become anxious. First looking at Chu Yi, then back at his newfound auntie, the baby boy didn't know who to help. Wah! That's when the baby boy broke out into a screaming cry. It's not a scheme, not a trick, just a simple yet effective mean for any kid to grab attention from their adults. Hey, why are you pushing me? Chu Yi really wanted to pop in her chest due to all the steam pent up in there. He's my nephew, so I'm enough to comfort him. Di Xiaowan made sure to give her nephew a comforting hug to prove her ownership. Grinning at the claim, Chu Yi clearly thought otherwise. He's your nephew now, but that may not necessarily be the case later on, the annoyed girl retorts. Don't you know Bai Yan still haven't accepted your brother yet? On the contrary, my brother have stayed by Bai Yan's side for years, so his hope of winning the beauty home is leagues ahead of yours. Di Xiaowan was literally popping her eyes at the news. It can't be, my brother is that much of a loser? Then I don't care. My brother is little Xiachen's biological father, thus making me his auntie regardless. Blood cannot be changed. The panicking girl was literally screaming the last part to REA's sure herself. Now Chu Yi didn't feel quite the same. In her defense, she never once thought of the baby boy as an outsider, so blood didn't matter to her. Now that don't matter to me. Even if my brother do become useless like yours, Xiachen will still be my nephew regardless of blood. If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off ad block helps too. Di Xiaowan vs Lan Xiaoyan, 2. Looking at the two people who will not agree with each other, Bai Xiachen was rather sad over this fact. Do they not see me crying? Why are they not stopping yet? Little Xiachen, since arguing wasn't getting anywhere, the next best option would be to bribe the target. In one swift swing of her hands, Di Xiaowan had unraveled her satchel for the baby boy. This is all my belonging. Although it's not some gold or silver, the stuff inside should still fetch a pretty penny once you barter it off at the shop. This is my gift to you for our first meeting. Not hesitating either after seeing her foe's blatant act of bribery, Chu Yi also pulled out her storage ring for the baby boy. This is for you too, it's my personal storage ring containing all my valuables. For an instant there, Bai Xiaochen was at a loss on what to do as he eyed the two storage items in his tiny palm. This translation is only hosted on Translation. You want to compete with me? Scoffing a laugh of annoyance, Di Xiaowan immediately blew a whistle with her fingers. A minute later, a white streak of light had sliced through the sky to land directly on the ground. Boom! Waiting until the crowd regained their composure from the grand entry, a white fluttering figure had caught their attention like a magnet. Dazzling under the beaming light of the sun, this white phoenix was glorious to the eye. This is a white phoenix that I caught on my way here. Little Xiaochen, I can see you are lacking in amount, so this will do for now. Patting the phoenix on the head, Di Xiaowan gave no illusions about her ownership. However, the white phoenix is but the lowest of the low in the phoenix family. When there's time, I will find you another better one. Phoenix. Mount? Looking at the sweet and pretty face of the young maiden, only a dumbfounded look can be found on the faces of the crowd. Although the white phoenix breed was of the lowest in terms of lineage, but it's still of Blee descent. Instead of cherishing it like a treasure, she's going to toss it aside when there's time to find another one? Grumbling at the flaunting act of wealth, Chu Yi had no choice but to admit defeat on this end. Forget about taming a phoenix, she can't even tame a simple garden bird, okay? Auntie, Sister Yi, my mother have always taught me since childhood that a gentleman can love money, but they cannot take what is not theirs. These gifts are too valuable, I cannot take them. Giving the storage ring and storage bag in his hand a one final glance, Bai Xiaochen can only reluctantly return the prizes to their rightful owners. Seeing the disappointed expression on Di Xiaowan's face, the baby boy's clever mindset once again shined in this situation. However, Auntie, I will take this phoenix since it's your meeting gift to me. I do need a ride anyways. In truth, if he had wanted a white phoenix to use as his mount, his mother would have brought one to him long ago. Just that he didn't want to hurt the girl, hence the reason why he would take the bird despite not needing one. Sure enough, it worked. Showing a gloating smile, Di Xiaowan immediately shot a taunting face at Chu Yi to send the girl jumping with steam. Sister Yi, Bai Xiaochen's face was beaming a heartwarming smile. Though I didn't take your gift, but I still like you and father a lot. No matter what choice my mother makes in the future, you will always be my family. What a sensible child. The surrounding onlookers were all sighing helplessly after watching. First was that phrase of not taking what's not yours, only a properly educated child can utter something so good. Now he's also comforting his elders for the sake of others. Such a well-behaved child, who can bear to harm such a darling? While some were mumbling this inside their heart, some were less inclined to keep their thoughts to themselves and outright said it aloud. If Bai Yan can educate her son to such an extent, she can't be bad like what the Bai family says. Besides, that family nearly sold this good child back then, and also set him on fire because he wouldn't agree. If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off ad block helps too. Di Xiaowan vs Lan Xiaoyan, 3. Di Xiaowan originally wanted to keep arguing with her opponent over who's better and etc., but as soon as she heard the whispering comments from the bystanders, her raging fury had erupted. What? Sell my nephew? And setting him on fire? Which bastard is it? My nephew is the crown prince of the demon realm, who dares? As soon as the topic was brought up again, Chu Yi herself also erupted. That's not all. Those people also wanted to sell Bai Yan to an old fart to be his concubine. For what? All for a third-grade Dan pill. If Bai Yan didn't run in time back then, little Xiaochen might not even be born now. Something like that happened too. My sister-in-law is the destined queen of the demon realm, who would have the nerve to ignore our power? Are they blind in the eye? This translation is only hosted on Translation regardless of whatever thoughts were running through the girl. Di Xiaowan apparently had forgotten no one in this mortal world even knows their status or background. Of course. That Bai family is the worst. In those days, Bai Yan was forced to wander out in the wild alone with a little baby in her care. Who knows how much suffering they had to endure during that time. Even back when the elders brought her to our place, Bai Yan's body was already covered in wounds without a single patch of good flesh. Going sour in her nose, Di Xiaowan suddenly had the urge to break out into tears at the story. From birth to now, she had always been carefully cared for by her caregivers. Never in her expectations did she foresee Bai Yan and Bai Shechen to suffer so badly. And the cause of all this are those who have harmed them. Wait, you just said the Bai house? Why is this surname so familiar? Struggling to remember where she heard the name, Di Xiaowan revealed a perplexed expression while brooding. Rolling her eyes at the dumb girl's reaction, Chu Yi didn't hold back her mockery. Seriously, and you call yourself Shechen's aunt? Bai Yan's maiden name is Bai, you silly. No, not right. Still unable to recall why, Di Xiaowan's line of sight eventually fell upon the figure hiding among the crowd. Jumping up like she had finally grasped onto the trailing thought, she points at the girl. That's her. She's the scoundrel who tried to cheat me. And to think this scoundrel even claimed to know my old bro. Does she take me for an idiot? Following the direction of that finger, Chu Yi's face instantly flared up as soon as she saw Bai Ji standing there. What is this wrench still doing out here? Ho, I believe it's time we got a little payback for Bai Yan after what this bitch did to her years ago. As the old saying goes, no matter how great the hatred, foes will become friends once a common enemy is met. That's exactly what's happening here in this situation. While the other side was ready to give her a good clobbering, Bai Ji on the other hand was dumbfounded by her own obsession. Shouldn't this Miss D be tearing apart that wild child? Why is she recognizing him instead? It's precisely because of this dilemma that the girl had missed the optimal timing to flee. As such, by the time she wanted to run, Di Xiaowan and Chu Yi was already stomping over in a threatening manner. Under that oppressive pressure, she inexplicably gulped with a pang of sweat trickling down her side. You must be mistaken, Miss D. He cannot be Lord Song's child. In response to that blatant lie, Di Xiaowan so angry that she directly sent a kick at Bai Ji's chest. Are you saying I'm stupid then? That I can't even recognize my own nephew? What a joke. No matter how dumb I am sometimes, I can never mistake my own nephew. Before Bai Ji could issue another word in her own defense, another kick from Chu Yi had come flying over, causing the girl to scream in agony. What are you doing? It was at this moment a familiar voice drifted over from the other side. Turning around, Chu Yi can see it was Lan Xiaoyun who was coming over with a red cuddly fox in her arms. If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off adblock helps too. Spoiling her, for Di Tsang, raising her ashen face to confront that overbearing man, not a word could come forward anymore. The Music Valley no longer exists from this day forward. With only that order, the fate of the Music Valley was sealed. Puking another mouthful of blood, her horrified face only had shock left in there. Why? You still asking me why? My wife nearly ran away with my child because of you. The dreaded frost from his smile only added to his charm for some reason. Shuddering at the man's remark, Mu Qing Song struggled to upright herself from the ground. You are that certain the child is yours? Did you test your blood with his? As if I wouldn't be able to recognize my own son. Do you take me for an idiot, or are you that much of an idiot yourself? The murderous intent was now in full bloom around Di Tsang's figure. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation in this moment. Mu Qing Song didn't care about her own physical pain, nor did she care what the others thought of her. All she knows was that her heart was hurting like it's being crushed until it's nothing but a pile of mush. Don't you realize that she's a vicious woman? The flower brothel is a place of womanizing, yet she still wants to cripple me and send me there. Such a woman is qualified to be your wife? No matter how vicious she is, I am here to protect her. Furthermore, clicking his tongue, Di Tsang didn't hide his contempt for the woman. I'm rather fond of Yan Yan's idea. I agree, let's send you to the flower brothel to take customers. That should be adequate for making my wife angry. Shuddering at the statement, the helpless woman could hardly believe her own ears. What did you say? He wants to send me to the flower brothel? How can he be so cruel to me? PFF. Following a piercing white light that shot straight into Mu Qingsong's body, her dantian finally shattered into a million pieces. I never thought the man that I've been searching after so long would be this heartless to me. She's not wrong to pursue love. What she did wrong was to pursue her love on Ditsong, someone she never should have eyed for in the first place. But then, just the thought of Bai Yan being protected so tightly by that man, an unbridled fury would erupt out of her heart. Send her to the flower brothel. Cold and indifferent, Ditsong gives the command for the guards to come out of hiding. Yes, Your Highness. Respectful in their tones, the men worked quickly and dragged the now crippled woman away. Without bothering to give Mu Qingsong another glance, Ditsong turns back to Bai Yan, who was still very upset with him. Do you need something else? She retreats as the man got closer, creating an awkward scene almost akin to a cat and mouse game. Going gloomy again at the reaction of the girl, he questions her, do you really intend to take my son away with you? I was just kidding. But I don't like that sort of joke. Disregarding the focused gaze from everyone around them, Ditsong forcefully pushes her against the nearby tree and takes a hearty bite of her lip. If there's a next time, I will directly take you to my bed with no mercy shown. Bai Yan's face had gone completely black. Can you control yourself? People are watching. So you know how to be scared too. Let's see how you will threaten me again in the future. With his eyes narrowed into an evil slit, he didn't forget to take advantage of the situation to get some more skinship. Ahumph. Making an embarrassed cough to bring the two back to reality, old Lord Lan hurries to wink at the dumbfounded Lan Xiaoyan. What are you still dazing around for? Your grandmother suffered quite the scare there. Hurry and go help her inside so she can rest. I still need to go look for my old friend to drink tea. Indeed, old Madame Lan did receive quite the scare today, but it wasn't all from Mu Qingsong. Bai Yan and Ditsong's intimate act here also had a hand in it. Against a common enemy, anti-Xiao Wan, wouldn't Batty Father be sad if you say it like that? From those blinking eyes, a hint of Kampa. Shaun could be seen in the little steam bun's face. As if he would, Di Xiao Wan refutes the claim outright. My old bro always say I'm annoying and stupid. Not only that, he would always go on and on about marrying me off early so he won't have to deal with me so often. As if I would want to see him. No way. State teacher is so much kinder than he is. In honest truth, Di Xiao Wan really don't know what sort of sins she's committed to have such a brother. For that reason alone, she's been suppressed for many years under that tyrannical rule. Little Xiachen, let's go home, your mother is waiting for us. Ignoring the conversation, Chu Yi, Holy Land Princess, led the way by holding the baby boy's hand. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation naturally. Di Xiao Wan wouldn't just ignore this and continue to follow them from behind in silence. Why are you following me? Chu Yi shot her head around to glare at the unwanted tagger. Of course to go home, she P.R.I.C. Ked her brow, unsure why the need for the question. Now it's Chu Yi's turn to be stumped. She really didn't know whether to be angry or to laugh. That is our home, your home is over at the Tsang Manor. I will have someone send you over there. Bai Yan is my sister-in-law and Xiachen is my nephew, so of course their home is my home. How can I be a hinder to you when I'm going home? No other way, that's what happens when Xiachen was her nephew. Just that connection alone gives her the right to tag along. This, unable to grasp onto the situation, Lan Xiaoyan, girl cousin, weakly chimed in, weren't we doing very well just now, why are you two quarreling all of a sudden? These two were clearly doing so well, why are they trending towards an open brawl? That's what happens when she tries to S-N-T-C-H away my nephew. Di Xiaowan stabs her fists against her hip to emphasize her point, my little nephew is mine, as well as my sister-in-law. I won't give either of them up to you. Ho ho, you want to fight, eh? Alright, come on, let's go. Chu Yi has had it now. Letting go of the baby boy's hand, she knocks her chin up in preparation for the fight. It's likely safe to assume the most clueless one here had to be Lan Xiaoyun. Scratching her head anxiously, the girl's eyes suddenly lit up at an idea. Miss Xiao Wan, there's been no shortages of people talking behind my cousin's back while she was away during all these years. In a blink of an eye, the two raging lionesses were longer glaring at each other. Instead, their eyes were solely focused on the poor girl who only wanted to help. Xiaoyun, tell me, who are the people talking behind Bai Yan's back? I'll go after them. Those thugs sure are bold to talk ill of my nephew and sister-in-law. Their angry voices were nearly in sync, causing a resonance effect across the street. Smiling right up to her eyes, Lan Xiaoyun was very pleased with this reaction. This wasn't all of it. Right after they learned of little Xiaochun's existence, they also started to talk ill about Lord Sung and that he's taking care of another man's child. I've already compiled a list for us to get them back one at a time. The first one, let's start with that sixth princess of the royal family. She not only mocked my cousin behind her back, she even bullied little Xiaochun and attempted to set the Tsang manor ablaze. We should make an example of her for starters. Bringing out the list she's been keeping on her at all times, Lan Xiaoyun was very proactive when it came to these sort of things. Let's go, we'll go find those he's to settle the score. Pulling up her sleeve, Di Xiaowan was showing off the perfect image of someone ready for a fight. Nodding in approval, Chu Yi was the same in every way. Lead the way, Xiaoyun, we are going to pay them back in full force today. Seeing how easily these two are joining up for the task, the confused girl can finally exhale a sigh of relief. In her view, the main priority was to stop their heated bickering before it devolves into something serious. As for that sixth princess, the girl can only consider herself unlucky. Sister Chu, Auntie Xiao Wan, Bai Xiaochun had wanted to say they should return home first, but before he could, the raging figures had already disappeared like wind and fire. And thus, a flabbergasted child was left behind without his consent. If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off ad block helps too. My brother is Di Tsang, the princess's home. While hundreds of blooming flowers adorned this wondrous garden, it was so horribly tarnished by a girl so filled with hatred that she would destroy the scenic picture by plucking the flowers one at a time to satiate her anger. Since the day when she was framed for no reason of setting Di Tsang's home ablaze, the sixth princess had no choice but to go kneel in front of the Tsang manor at her father's order. Contrary to getting the forgiveness like she expected, she had got done in by a flaming bird instead and nearly had her entire arm ripped off by the bite. By the time she woke up again after fainting away, the princess was already back at her home. Lord Sung is so cruel. At the very least I'm still considered a beauty, why would he ignore me at every turn? The princess just can't accept the fact that she's losing out to Bai Yan, so she's venting her steam on the poor flowers. This translation is only hosted on Cat Translations. It was then at this moment a light chuckle came from behind, startling the princess greatly. In a hurry, she turned around to find Lan Xiaoyun in her blue dress standing there. And beside the girl were two angry maidens glaring daggers at herself. Lan Xiaoyun, what are you doing here? The princess viciously asked. She's afraid of making a move against Bai Yan because of Di Tsang's might, but that doesn't necessarily apply to Lan Xiaoyan. I heard you want to seduce my brother? And also bullied my nephew. Di Xiaowan, Di Tsang's sister, proudly knocked her chin up as she looked down in disdain at this mortal princess. Who is your brother? My brother is Di Tsang. Once that said, the demon princess didn't give her foe another chance to reply. In swift uppercut, she sends the mortal girl flying up into the air like a lightning bolt. Sadly for the sixth princess, things didn't end there. There's still Chu Yi's flying upper kick to knock her even higher into the crystal blue sky. Popping her eyes in surprise, Lan Xiaoyun only had sympathy for the sixth princess who wouldn't come down anymore. On this day, the entire Luhua kingdom was doomed to be unsettling to the point where fear would run rampant. One Chu Yi would already be enough to flip the entire kingdom upside down, add in another Di Xiaowan, it'd be a miracle if there's anything left by the end of it. At this moment, Bai Yan was still unaware of the chaos quickly ensuing outside her home as a result of her task of refining some medicine for the sickly Bai Zhanping. This the pill I was telling you about. Walking out of the cauldron room, Bai Yan casually placed the bottle in front of the sickly man. There are a total of 100 pills inside, more than to remedy that body of yours. As for the extra in my possession, consider it your payment to me. The excitement in Bai Zhanping's usually indifferent face cannot be hidden here. Carefully picking up the bottle containing his life-saving pills, his voice sounded somewhat hoa. Due to the emotions running through his soul, Miss Bai, thank you. You really saved me this time. If you ever need my help in the future, I will answer your call no matter the circumstances. Bai Yan was definitely happy over the answer. It's fine. Aside from the batch I gave you, I also left a lot for myself. We are even. How can I do that? A life debt cannot be paid with some mere pills. Standing up, Miss Bai Yan, I feel like we are hitting it off very well. Why don't you call me Uncle Zhanping instead? How about it? Bai Yan became stunned there. Looking you finally replied after seeing how earnest the man was, all right, Uncle Zhanping. If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off ad block helps too. I only need to see her. A smile escapes the man. To Bai Zhanping, sickly man, the girl in front of him was no different from seeing his younger sister again from all those years ago. However wishful that may be, it cannot be true because his sister was already 20 that year when she disappeared. To say Bai Yan to be his niece was more fitting. Bai Yan, I will be staying in the city during this period. If there's anything you need, do come find us at the Dragon Phoenix Inn. Elder Gu, let us go now. Giving Bai Yan one last glance, Bai Zhanping didn't look back anymore as he strode towards the exit. Young master, you're almost fully recovered now. With the medicine in our hands, shouldn't we first return to the medicine sect? The elder was quick to suggest the idea after they were outside. Shaking his head before turning around, Bai Zhanping was full of emotions when he looked at the old manor. How can I possibly do that? It's not easy to come across someone so similar to her. There's no way I can. This translation is only hosted on Translation. My heart just can't bear to leave her, even if the girl only has her looks. Sighing, the old elder laments the cruelty of reality, but she is not your sister in the end. I know, the smile becomes a bittersweet one. Elder Gu, I only want to watch over her, that's all. That's all. I have no other wish, just seeing that face is enough. This way, I can at least fantasize her still being by our side and not like how things have turned out now. Facing the resolve in his young lord, Elder Gu had no choice but to give in. Then I will go ahead and write letter back to your father first. We should at least inform him. Very well, frowning, but I don't want you to tell him about Bai Yan yet. Why? Asked the elder in surprise. She has strong talent in alchemy, so I don't want anyone to disturb her peace because of me. Now it made sense to this elder Gu. If it becomes known of how talented Bai Yan was, those old relics back at the medicine sect will no doubt subjugate the girl to a series of harassment. I understand then. Rest assured young master, I will not let anyone know about this matter. Serious in his old face, the elder intends to use the safest possible method this time to transfer the letter back home. Let's go now. I will return home in half a month. Until then, we will stay here. Exhaling a sigh, Bai Zhanping understands anything longer than that will raise the suspicion of his father. By then, Bai Yan's existence will be exposed. That's not the outcome he wants for anyone. Not for his father, and not for this girl who has the same face as his younger sister. Back inside the old manor. After her patient had left the premise, Bai Yan originally wanted to return inside to continue her efforts in creating more pills. However, as soon as she turned around, she immediately took notice to her son's strange behavior of peeking out from behind the tree. Son, what are you doing? This voice greatly startled the little steam bun. Cautiously coming out of hiding, Bai Xianxia appeared to be quite uncomfortable in front of his mother's presence. Mother, what's wrong? She wrinkled her brow, finding the demeanor of her son very strange. Biting her fingers, Bai Xianxia's voice sounded very nervous. Mother, you must prepare yourself. What happened? Startled at first, Bai Yan continues to ask. Just now. Sister Yi and Auntie Xiaoyun went out to make trouble. I suspect there will be a lot of people coming over to find you in a bit. This time the list brought out by Lan Xiaoyun had contained basically the names of every N.O.B.L.E. lady in the royal capital, married or unmarried. If they really did get even with everyone, it's a given the whole city will be in an uproar. Although, Bai Shechen also believes that there was nothing wrong with their practice, but if you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off ad block helps too. Sister-in-law, please take me in. Bai Yan's expression had gone dark. Your sister Yi, Holy Land's princess, brought your Auntie Xiaoyun, girl cousin, out to make trouble? Mother, this time you're wrong about Sister Yi. It's not her who's bringing Auntie Xiaoyun out to make trouble, it's Auntie Xiaoyun who's bringing Sister Yi out to make trouble. Making a pouty face with his mouth, Bai Shechen wasn't very happy in the tone that he's using. What's even more infuriating is that they didn't even bring me along. After all that, the little steam bun was only moping around because they left him behind. Talk about ridiculous. Towards her son's comment, Bai Yan's expression grew even darker. Knocking the kid on the head to show her displeasure, she continues, behave yourself. If there's anything else you must tell me, wait until I finish dealing with this mess first. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation. Chu Yi never cares about whether or not she's right or wrong. To the girl, it only matters if she likes the person or not. For that reason, there's been no shortages of young talented individuals who had to suffer under her tyrannical rule within the Holy Land. But that's not necessarily the case for Lan Xiaoyun. If she's willing to lead the way with her personality, then there must be a reason. Oh right, tilting his little head, those eyes were innocent and clean. Mother, do you still remember those words Batty father said before he left? Yes, I remember. Bai Yan makes a faint nod. He said he's going to search for his little sister. The other thing I want to say is this, struggling in his baby tongue, Auntie, she. Cousin. It was at this moment the joyous voice of Lan Xiaoyun drifted over from the outside, which also interrupted the mother and son's conversation. Looking up, Bai Yan only managed to catch a glimpse of that girl in the blue dress before she became overwhelmed by a speeding figure coming her way. Alarmed by the intrusion, she reflexively shot her leg out and slammed it directly into that rushing body. Against this scene, Lan Xiaoyun and Chu Yi were both flabbergasted. Watching their third partner shoot up into the sky and then coming back down to the ground in a sprawling position, they could hardly keep their jaws closed. Who are you? Bai Yan's face was darker than ever when she asked with that cold hard voice. Mother. Tugging at his mother's sleeve, Bai Shechen was full of sympathy as he eyed the twitching girl on the ground. She is Auntie Xiaowan. Auntie Xiaowan? Bai Yan frowned. That's Batty father's little sister. Popping her eyes in surprise, Bai Yan stared intently at the girl there. You are my son's auntie? Why would she be here with Chu Yi and Lan Xiaoyun? Di Xiaowan finally emerged from her dazed-like state after the question. Heavily shaking her head to pull herself together, she then climbs up to pat the dust off. Sister-in-law, puckering her lips into a frown, a layer of water could easily be seen filling those aggrieved eyes. You are so mean, I only wanted to give you a hug. How can you actually kick me? Twitching in the corner of her eye, Bai Yan also felt ashamed of her rashness there. A humph, I thought you were attacking me. Come on, anyone would react the same way if they see a stranger rushing over without a word. This can only be blamed on Di Xiaowan's carelessness of not giving a proper greeting. Sister-in-law, pitiful in her appearance, I'm homeless now, can you take me in? Your brother is looking for you everywhere, you should go find him. As soon as the news of her brother searching everywhere for her came to light, Di Xiaowan couldn't resist shivering a cold fright. Shrinking her neck in, she pleads again with that big smile. Please sister-in-law, I left home without permission. If my brother catches me, he will surely kill me. I still think it's safer here, so pretty please, let me stay. If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off ad block helps too. Are you sure you want to stay? Are you sure you want to stay? Bai Yan asks with an extra meaning in her eyes. Going bright, Di Xiaowan grew excited. Can I really stay here? You are more than welcome to stay, however. I hope you won't regret it afterwards. Unbeknownst to the girl yet, Di Tsang had already beaten her to the goal of claiming a spot in this manner. By the time she discovers this truth, it would be already too late. Sister Yan Yan. Putting on a pouty face, Chu Yi, Holy Land Princess, sends a glare of unwillingness at the newcomer before turning back around. Are you really going to take this girl in? This translation is only hosted on Catranslation. Di Xiaowan went cold at the question. Proudly raising her beautiful face up, she fires back, and why can't I stay? This is my nephew and sister-in-law's home, not your home. We don't need your input. Di Xiaowan, Demon Realm Princess, do you want to fight again? Chu Yi's face had become a rosy red due to anger. Let's fight then, as if I, Di Xiaowan, would fear someone like you. Even if the girl had always been oppressed by Di Tsang since young, but those elders in the demon realm and the state teacher himself would always dote her to the extreme. And so, that's why her character would be so surprisingly similar to Chu Yi's. They are two little princesses who are used to being doted and pampered by their peers. Boom! Just as the two were ready to go at it again, a heavy blow from the side suddenly pulled their attention back over. Quickly turning around, that's when they saw Bai Yan's fist leaving an imprint on the door frame. You two want to fight? Alright, go outside and fight. But once you two are finished, there's no need to come back. Frosty and commanding in her voice, Bai Yan left no room to be rebuked here. Frightened to the point where they had to take a step back, the two didn't even have the nerve to breathe using that grieving face of theirs. You must follow my rules while in my place. Easing her tone after getting the intended reaction, Bai Yan was less intimidating, otherwise I will send the both of you away. Come my son, we're leaving. Hand in hand, Bai Yan pulls the little boy away with her for the backyard. Oh, that scared me. When the brilliant red figure was gone, Di Xiaowan could finally gather herself again. No wonder my old bro is taking so long to conquer her. Such a powerful woman is no joke. This is already considered light already. Chu Yi's demeanor also relaxed somewhat. Years ago back when I set her 3 Shifus treasury ablaze, she nearly had me tortured to death. That's scary? Di Xiaowan couldn't even control the pounding in her heart at the news. Peering over to the girl, she suddenly got an unexpected feeling of kinship. You have my sympathy. Getting smart again, Chu Yi quickly follows up with another sentence. If you're sympathetic of me, why don't you give up and let Bai Yan be my sister-in-law? To hear this out of the blue statement, Di Xiaowan's complexion instantly shot up into a cherry red. Dream on. Sister-in-law is so beautiful, I will never give her to you. Knowing the two are going to start quarreling again, Lan Xiaoyun, cousin, suddenly came down with a wonderful idea due to urgency. Exclaiming in surprise like she meant it, "Ah, cousin, why are you out here again?" This tiny remark was enough to nearly stop their heartbeat. In her urgency, Di Xiaowan suddenly stretched her arms out to hug her foe. I was just joking you before. I will never fight with you again. If you like this translation, consider donating for an extra release or simply turning off adblock helps too. I'm your auntie. Miss D, it's that child over there. Lighting up in her eyes, Baiji directly points to the unsuspecting kid. It's that bastard child. Bai Yan is using that brat to force and trick Lord Song. Following the finger to the indicated direction, Di Xiaowan's line of sight eventually fell upon Bai Shechen's cute little face. First there was shock over how adorable the child was, then came an unstoppable force of ecstasy. In her haste, Di Xiaowan completely forgot to mind her manners and pounced at the poor kid. While in the background, Baiji was still smiling devilishly due to her own foolish mistake of not paying attention. Bai Yan, Bai Xiachen, I won't let either of you get off so easily for ruining me. Sister Yi, do you know when Godfather is coming? A bit sulky in his voice, Bai Xiachen was apparently having an episode of missing his 3 Shifus and Godfather. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation. I have already written to my brother. If he knows your real father is here, he will surely rush over. Shining in her eyes as she said this, Chu Yi, Holy Land's young lady, firmly believes Bai Yan wouldn't be snatched away if her brother arrives. Now it was Bai Xiachen who became hesitant. If Godfather comes, would he start a fight with my baddie father? By then, who am I supposed to help? While the baby boy was struggling to make up his mind, a powerful gust of wind had knocked him off his feet and snatched the boy right up. It was a young girl with a set of messy-looking hair. Before anyone can do a thing to stop this, the person had already sent a smooch at that cuddly face. Naturally, Bai Xiachen would become paralyzed over the sudden assault. Mainly due to how scared he was by the act, he didn't know how to react to the kiss and froze there. What are you doing? Exploding over this, Chu Yi immediately snatched the assailant up by the collar and growled menacingly, "Where did a wild girl like you come from? How dare you bully my little Xiachen?" If it was in the past, Di Xiaowan would have definitely broken out into a fight with anyone who would dare offend her like this. However, all her attention was solely focused on the kid in her arms. "You are called Xiachen? Can I also call you that too?" Blinking with confusion and startlement, Bai Xiachen was at a loss on how to reply. This was honestly the first time he's been cuddled up without indication. Just when Chu Yi wanted to start making a move to break this up, the assailant somehow managed to beat her to the punch with those pitiful eyes. "Little Xiachen, don't you know me?" Completely stunned by the question, should I know her? This auntie, Bai Xiachen's expression appeared to be tangled. "Are you sure you aren't mistaking me for someone else?" "I don't know you." Di Xiaowan was ready to cry at this point over the maltreatment. She had gone through thick and thin to get to the mortal world, with the help of the state teacher of course. But now that she's finally here, the target of her delight claims that he doesn't know her. More importantly, how much suffering and pain did she experience along this journey? Did she get it easy? Of course not. In the end, all her efforts only yielded a, "I don't know you." Seeing the tearing up face of the girl embracing himself, Bai Xiachen immediately softened. "Maybe we did meet in the past. Might just be my memories not being so good. Can you remind me of when we met?" Sure enough, Di Xiaowan quickly went from sad to absolutely delight. Wiping away those tears, she revealed a glorious smile. "I am your auntie. How can you forget me?" On this sunny day that should have gone without a hitch or incident, Bai Xiachen had for the first time in his short little life become electrocuted by another person's dumbness. What forget her? This is clearly, without a single doubt, their first time meeting. Okay. Di Xiaowan vs Lan Xiaoyan, 1. If anyone were to be more stupefied here, it would have to be Chu Yi. I've just been robbed in the face. Just thinking of this point would cause her rosy face to flush with anger. What did you say? Little Xiachen is not your nephew. He can only be mine you hear? I don't want to be your sister anymore, call me auntie alright? This last part would of course be meant for Bai Xiachen. After stating this much, Chu Yi didn't forget to shoot a provocative stare at her opponent. This translation is only hosted on Catranslation now. It was Di Xiaowan to become mystified. When did my brother accept another sister? By now Bai Xiachen was already cherry red in his cheeks after suppressing himself all this time. Sister Yi is my godfather's sister, not my baddie father's. Baddie father? This name is too suitable for him. Di Xiaowan couldn't resist another pinch at that squiggly face. Your face is exactly like my brother's when he was young, just that you are more sensible and more polite. Way better than he is at your age. In all seriousness, Di Xiaowan really had trouble believing this clever and adorable little child was his old brother's seed. Finding the girl willfully ignoring herself repeatedly, Chu Yi was ready to flare out at this point. But before then, she made sure to first snatch the little guy over to her side for protection. Hey, what are you doing? Di Xiaowan shoots a glare at Chu Yi for stealing her darling of a nephew. Return my nephew to me. I'm not giving, what can you do? Chu Yi proudly makes a grunt to showcase her terrible might of being unreasonable. If based solely on appearance, Chu Yi and Di Xiaowan are not of the same type. The former being the charming young girl type while the latter was the sweet and beautiful. However, their temper are one and the same, the type to explode upon contact. As such, Finding someone trying to steal her precious nephew away, Di Xiaowan's face was starting to show off a pang of true anger. You want to fight, is it? Come, which weapon would you like to use? Or do you want to go barehanded? I will even let you have the first strike. Sensing the dangerous aura oozing out of the pair, the innocent bystanders were very conscious in relocating themselves to a safer location, thus leaving a wide open space for their brawl. Now Bai Xiachen had become anxious. First looking at Chu Yi, then back at his newfound auntie, the baby boy didn't know who to help. Wah! That's when the baby boy broke out into a screaming cry. It's not a scheme, not a trick, just a simple yet effective mean for any kid to grab attention from their adults. Hey, why are you pushing me? Chu Yi really wanted to pop in her chest due to all the steam pent up in there. He's my nephew, so I'm enough to comfort him. Di Xiaowan made sure to give her nephew a comforting hug to prove her ownership. Grinning at the claim, Chu Yi clearly thought otherwise. He's your nephew now, but that may not necessarily be the case later on, the annoyed girl retorts. Don't you know Bai Yan still haven't accepted your brother yet? On the contrary, my brother have stayed by Bai Yan's side for years, so his hope of winning the beauty home is leagues ahead of yours. Di Xiaowan was literally popping her eyes at the news. It can't be, my brother is that much of a loser? Then I don't care. My brother is little Xiachen's biological father, thus making me his auntie regardless. Blood cannot be changed. The panicking girl was literally screaming the last part to reassure herself. Now Chu Yi didn't feel quite the same. In her defense, she never once thought of the baby boy as an outsider, so blood didn't matter to her. Now that don't matter to me. Even if my brother do become useless like yours, Xiachen will still be my nephew regardless of blood.